I will talk to you later.
Good night.
You too.
Thank you. Good night.
Okay, he's gone. Yeah, so uh, I felt like I was really battling his energy level tonight, but and it was harder to do it on. Can I play the last mess? I can't. Anything that came in just now, I'll play opening on Sunday. So he's off. So, but like on Wednesday, it was hard to battle his energy because my energy was low still, because I was completely wrecked, and I think Garrett was too. I don't think he's here, but anybody else that was in there on Sunday, man, it really took a toll on me, and not to mention the whole computer thing as well. Um, but man, it's just I was in bed at my friend's place in San Diego like almost all day um, on Monday. I was up for like uh, you know what, Belushi, the thing being super that'll work better on Sunday because I just think he's just mentally checked out now. Um, but um, I was up for about see we left Perry's. I went back to my hotel Sunday night. I took a shower, which was like the best shower of my life, and then checked out of the hotel, and then drove down to San Diego. Made in about 2 hours 20 minutes, and went right to sleep. And then I woke up the next day at like around, geez, like 1 p.m. and was up for about 2 hours, and I was not feeling well. Um, Faster Blade, I'm not going to tell you what I'm wearing because you weren't here. You disappeared, so you don't get to hear what I'm wearing today. So I don't know if you just popped in or not, but I'm not telling you. But anyway, so I didn't feel well. I felt dizzy. My hand was shaking. My left hand was shaking, and like my whole arm, it was like shaking, and like I just felt weird. I felt like dizzy. I'm not blaming it all on Perry's apartment. I think I ran myself down too. It was a really hard week, and I didn't have a lot of sleep, and it didn't eat the greatest food, and I just I had to go right back to sleep. I said to my friend, I was like, "Hey, listen, I got to lay down for a little while," and I laid down, and I woke up at like 4 o'clock the next morning, and that was only like Perry would say to pee, and then I didn't. I went back to sleep and woke up again at 2 p.m. on Tuesday. Then I felt pretty good. After that point, my body needed to completely reboot. Why don't I show my face on these after shows? Because I don't have a camera set up here in this office. I will. I'm moving. I'm moving in a few weeks, and once I move and have my new thing set up, I will have a camera for this. Have you been here the whole stream? I don't know. You've been awfully quiet. I don't know. I don't know if I buy that, Faster Blade. But so Wednesday came around, and I was still. I was just. I just wanted it to get on schedule because, like I said, for the Twitch partnership, I want to keep the schedule for a while. If I was to take a week, I should have. Hindsight, I probably should have taken the week off, and just said come back on this Sunday. But he has been getting. He was worn out, but he just gets up so super early. Even today, he was running around. Um, so I got to course correct that. I don't know what the answer is. But anyway, yeah. So hopefully he'll be back in his normal form on Sunday. But I do think eventually we take like a good week off, maybe two. Universal, like I said, Universal was a major disappointment. The only reason I went to Universal is because number one, it was right across the street from where I was staying. I literally walked there, and I only wanted to go to the studio tour. I've always wanted to do that stupid studio tour because I've always seen it in TV shows, movies, and stuff. And I did it in Orlando like years and years ago, but it's not the same because Orlando doesn't have the history that Universal Studios in Hollywood does, because they don't film anything there. So it's stupid to even do it. They shouldn't even call it a studio tour. But they had a thing where you got to buy a ticket to the park, which I went. You got to wear a mask, which was stupid. It was really hot. I did it on Thursday. Thursday was my only day off, so I did it on Thursday, and then I went to the studio tour. And I wait like 45 minutes in line, which is probably decent nowadays because it was practically empty. Anyway, the only thing I really cared about seeing was the Bates Motel and the Psycho House. I know they're not the original, but they're still in the location where they were, and they still look like the original. Oh yeah, Captain Kirk is the guy that cooked me up at the hotel. It worked beautifully. In fact, I was gonna write you tomorrow. It could not have gone better. But I don't think I couldn't have done the trip without that hotel. I could not have done it. Could not have done it financially. And yeah, the computer sucks. But thank you. Yeah, and I'll write you separately. But it was the perfect location too. The hotel and I'll stay there again if I could swing it financially, but for another period, because it's 20 minutes from Perry's. It was 15 minutes from where the studio was. It was really perfect work-wise. But anyway, I wanted to see that stupid Psycho House in the Bates Motel, and the tram starts off. They do all this bullshit where it's like they take you through first of all, they hand you 3D glasses. I don't want to see any 3D glasses on a thing like that. But you go through this King Kong 3D. Could care less about that. They do a Fast and Furious 3D thing. Could give less of a shit about that. There was some cool stuff like Old West Town that was in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. That was fine. But they don't even slow down. Like, they slow down for like, oh, here's where they're shooting The Voice. Here's where they're shooting some Ted Danson show no one's ever heard about. You get to the Bates Motel, which to me is the marquee thing of the entire thing. They don't even slow down. They don't even stop. It's like, oh, there's the Bates Motel. Oh, and here's the house. Boom, it's over. I mean, I took a picture while it was moving, and I was lucky to get. I mean, I barely saw it. I was so pissed off. Like, I wanted to jump out. Like, what are they going to do? Throw me out of the park? Like, I was done with the park anyway. I should have just jumped out and walked around the Bates Motel. I thought about it, but I didn't do it. But anyway, so that was the point. Yeah, the other stuff is just stupid. It was like you go through like a subway station that has an earthquake, and who gives a shit? It was just so stupid. And then the rest of the park is like, it's for kids. It's fine. I went to Harry Potter World. The Psycho House is still there, but it's not the original house. I went to the Harry Potter, but I just really went there to buy stuff for my nieces. Like, I bought like a wand and some stuff in the candy shop, and then I don't care about the Simpsons house. Yeah, the Street from the Burbs is there, and it's like, there's stuff, but it's like, it just wasn't that good. I was really I was mad. I should have just stayed at the hotel and hung out by the pool or something like that. But I think the thing to do is go back in time 60 years and take that tour, because that's what I want to see. This is where we shoot Gunsmoke. This is where they shoot this. There's nothing. Yeah, it was just Nintendo Land would be cool at Universal. There's just nothing there that did anything for me at all. So it was a bummer. But yeah, the hotel rocked. The hotel made the trip. It was so nice, and it was so perfect, and it was just nice to be able to come back after a thing. I didn't see Blues Brothers there, no. But especially after, wasn't that, because normally I stay far, from past couple of trips I've stayed in like West Hollywood, and it's a pain in the ass to go back and forth from there to Perry's. But I think that the only thing you can do with Universal is if you know somebody and they can give you a private tour, that's the way to go, because the regular tour, it's just not worth it. It's just not worth going. I mean, not for me anyway. Maybe if somebody's into that 3D shit, you could get away with it, but TomB Week was amazing. Yeah, thank you for everybody who liked TomB Week. And I knew the streams that followed it immediately were going to be a little bit of a letdown, because, you're not going to top Sunday anytime soon. But yeah, so but we'll get back in a groove. I got some ideas to spruce up the streams. But yeah, just so disappointed. Again, I just wish I would have done something else Thursday. That was my only day off the entire time I was in LA. The ticket for the day was, I think it was 115. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't. I mean, it's a lot. I didn't go on any rides or anything. I just wanted to do this. They should have a separate thing just for the studio tour. But of course, I could see why they don't. And you had to show, where they said you had to show your immunization card, which I brought with me, of course, which got fucking soaked with champagne. But I didn't bring it to the park. I just took a picture of it. They didn't even check it though. But they said for an out of state person, you had to show your proof of immunization. So no, they didn't have the DeLorean there. They had no back. I didn't even see the clock tower. They didn't have any Back to the Future stuff. The only Back to the Future stuff they had like cars from Back to the Future 2, in like they have this one section where it's like a bunch of cars. And it's mostly Fast and the Furious cars, which who gives a shit about, and allegedly Knight Rider, but it was like a late season Knight Rider car. It was like Knight Rider in like turbo mode. It was, who cares? I love how after TomB week, where Tom is constantly on the move and flying across the country, and made Perry tired. Yeah, I know. And the flight back was fine. Yeah, it was first class, so it was nice. It was I needed it, and it's funny. I was gonna cheap out in buying the ticket back, because Adult Swim did give me a little bit of an allowance for travel, but not a lot. It would not have covered the hotel and flight, and I got help with the hotel, which I'm supremely thankful for. But the flight, I was gonna cheap out on the way back and say I don't need. It's called Delta One now. They changed it, so it's basically you get this big seat, kind of on your own, and it can recline all the way back to like a bed almost. I didn't do that. But I did sleep on the way there, and I did sleep a little bit on the way back. But I needed it because I was just so wrecked, and I was glad that I, splurged a little bit for that, even though. Oh, you're in Sydney? Wow. So you flew back. Yeah. So next time we're both in LA. I don't know when that's going to be. We'll definitely meet up. Mexican food in San Diego, I didn't really have too much. We went out to a steakhouse on Tuesday, really great. And then we went to this place. What was the name of the place we went to? I'll tell you the name. I don't think Robert's in the chat. I haven't seen him. Oh shit, let me find it. It was some taco place. It was good. It just wasn't like San Diego good in my thing. Yeah, Adult Swim kind of picked up the flight, but they gave me they gave me a basic travel allotment that was supposed to cover my flight and hotel, and it wasn't enough to cover both. So El Gordo, okay, he is in the chat. El Gordo, it was very good. Like but the place was kind of weird. Like they had like glass, like you felt like you were eating with somebody in prison, because even if you go to one table, the glass was partitioned. So Robert and I went, but we were talking through glass, But they were very good. The tacos were very good, and that was the only thing. I didn't go to any usual spots. It was very good. It just. It wasn't. It wasn't everything I wanted it to be. It was fine. It was fine, but it wasn't San Diego good. I have very high standards. I think San Diego has some of the best Mexican food in the country. So it wasn't San Diego good. But again, I was so laid out. I was so friggin' tired, and Robert's always such an amazing host. And then the weather wasn't that great either. Like it was like partly cloudy and like 70, high 60s, like barely 70. And of course the day I left it was like 80 and sunny, which is always the case. I was like, oh, here's the perfect day to hang out by the pool, and it was like, whatever. But the flight home was fine. It was quick, and then back to New York. My dad picked me up, which was it was great to see him. He said he's feeling a lot better, which is really great. You want to hear something funny? The people that have been following the story with my dad and like what he's going through, is he saw a neurologist the other day who pointed out that he might have an inner ear thing. That might be ticking the boxes for all of his ailments, like the dizziness and the blood pressure, because there's so many things in the inner ear that can cause problems. So he's seeing somebody about that, and if it's an inner ear thing, I'll feel such a huge relief, because I've been so nervous about him, especially when I was away. So it is good news. It's cautiously optimistic news. And my parents, hold on, my parents are celebrating their 50th wedding anniversary tomorrow. So that's pretty cool too. Hold on, let me take care. What's up? Oh, sorry. Hey, what's up? Sorry, I didn't hear you. Yes, you can restart your computer. Can you do me a big favor for Sunday? Can you really try to like sleep like you really got to pick up the energy. I know, but like these, we might have to adjust the hours or something, because it's killing me. I have to work like 5 times as hard.
I'm going to do what I can. All right. Good night.
Are you in a rush to get off?
On the phone right now? Yeah, I'd like to finish cleaning up and so I can get in the shower and sleep.
All right, we'll talk tomorrow. Good night. I think we all know what he was about to do. Yeah, so my parents are celebrating 50 years of marriage tomorrow, and it sucks because in normal circumstances I would have planned some big. In fact, my sister and I talked about it a couple of years ago for their 50th. We were going to do a surprise party for them, and the pandemic killed that. Even though we're kind of coming out of it now, but also my dad's health wouldn't have done it. So I think next year, I think I'm going to do a surprise 51st anniversary thing, which will be interesting. But yeah, no, we don't know what he's doing. Yeah, he's definitely having a toss. Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, so it's nice. It's they're just going out to dinner tomorrow. Nothing big, but yeah, I'll call him back. I'll see. What do you want? I'm busy. But yeah, I didn't get to do a ton of stuff in LA like I wanted to. Like, you have all these ideas that you're gonna fit all this stuff in on a trip like that. Yeah, Gavin McGinnis recently said that everyone involved in the Perry Project hates Perry. Is that true? No, it's bullshit. I've said that before. That's why Gavin's out of his fucking mind. Gavin has no idea what he's talking about. Gavin's like completely out of touch with anything Perry related, and it's not true. Obviously, I don't hate Perry. Garrett now works with Perry. Garrett doesn't hate Perry. We love Perry. Moderators here doesn't hate Perry. Joey doesn't hate Perry. Scott doesn't hate Perry. We all love Perry. So I hate that. He always has said that, and I always going on. Yeah, he I guess he discovered somebody clued him in the fact that Perry was streaming. But yeah, Gavin doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. So I don't take anything he says about Perry as he couldn't even get his address right. So, Garrett, Tom, I missed most of the stream. Took my parents out to eat at a nice place, and I paid. That's nice. When was the first time I took my parents' house out to a nice place? That's a good question. I think it was in my 20s, like a nice place, like where I had started my own business. I was doing this computer consulting business, and I created an LLC and everything, and I forget what it was. It might have been their anniversary, because I thought it was in like June or something like that. and I took them to this French restaurant that we all liked, and we always passed it and said that was too fancy for us. We never really did too many fancy places. And I said, you know what, I'm going to make a reservation there. And I took them out, and it was nice. It was really nice. It was nice to be able to do. And recently, I took my dad out for his birthday, his 80th birthday. I think I talked about this. I took him out to a really nice steakhouse. It was one of the biggest bills I've ever had because, we got booze, appetizers, we did it up, And it's always a nice feeling when you could take your parents out for a nice meal. So that's awesome that you did that. You didn't miss much tonight, I don't think. Perry Perry was a little low energy, but he snapped too here and there. And we had a really good closer where he shot out a bunch of French fries and a Ray action figure. And then he took the Ray action figure and put it down the garbage disposal. And he did fight it for a bit, but yeah. Yeah, I agree with Blue Steve. I only hate Perry when he's fidgeting at his desk. And it's not true hatred. Other than that, I love him. Yeah, I think everybody here loves him. And occasionally you find a guy that doesn't, or a girl that doesn't like that. I truly hate Perry. And they're always in the minority. Just, look, I wouldn't fucking be here if doing this if I didn't love Perry. This stream and everything else, every other revenue thing that's Perry related, helps support him and keeps a roof over his head, pays his bills. So, and I think I was right too to back him up because he wanted to like stand kind. I know that shop vac blow better than he does because I knew that would fire out really well, especially when he stuffed it like that. You hate Beef and Hole says I hated Perry before PCL. It's funny you say that. I hear that a lot. That Perry Caravello Alive is somehow humanized Perry and it's more fun and engaging. A lot of women like Perry now that hated him previously. And we all hate Perry when he's opening mail. That is fucking true. That is true. Yeah, don't take anything fucking Gavin says. It's just and by the way, Gavin's always out for Gavin, So, he's. I didn't see his. Can we talk about how Perry has Kevin Trudeau scam books? I didn't see too many of his scam books there. Maybe on his coffee table when I uncovered all those layers underneath after I cleaned it up last week. These streams make me laugh harder than any of my friends can by themselves. That's cool. Thank you. Yes, Belushi, a lot of people hate Perry. That's for sure true. But I don't, and I don't think any of us do. Yeah, Gavin is in the Gavin business. It's true, and he doesn't. Gavin's looking out to take care of Gavin and him and her, even though he's doing a terrible job at it. Perry's new opportunity. Not really. I can't. It literally just came in. It's not. It's for just a small thing, but and I gotta vet it. I don't know if he's even gonna do it because they haven't announced anything. So no, I really can't say anything now. It's on a smaller scale than the Adult Swim. I'll say that. It's not anything to be crazy excited, but I think look, once this episode comes out, because I'm not lying, I haven't been able to talk to about this at length really. He did a really good job. They took a lot of takes and he did amazing. Like he knew his lines for the most part. And he really impressed the creator, the guy that hired him because of these streams. And when we had downtime, that's all they talked about was the streams. Really, that's all anybody was talking about was, Garrett can talk more about that than I can because he was outside with some of the other people and he was just showing clips and stuff. But the guy, Zach, there's two creators of the show, Zach and Michael. Michael's in Australia, so he couldn't make it over. But Zach just absolutely loves Perry. And said that one of the reasons he loves the streams is it's he said it's a slice of life in a way, and when you guys see the character that Perry's playing, you're gonna see how it was born out of the streams, because it's fast food related, and it's great. I don't want to give anything away, but he was great. And it was a longer shoot, not because it was problematic, but because it was so good. Like, Perry had stunts, like Perry had a couple of things that he had to do, and he did it to the point where people were cracking up, like, on the set. Like, he was cracking people up because he was so good. So it was great. And when it comes out, it's going to come out sometime in the fall. I think it's going to be really good. And I think Adult Swim's going to push his social media, push the channel. And then everybody here will now, like, tweet out at Adult Swim when the show is ready to come out, saying, I can't wait to see, at Perry Caravello or whatever. So that'll be really cool. And I think, and to be honest with you, this, you can really look at it, like, because I thought about this. I think it's Perry's first real role where he had to act, because it's not an extra role. And you can't count Windy City Heat so much, because most of that is just him, being real. He's not really acting in Windy City Heat. So name me another thing that he ever did where he's really acting. This is it. Like, this, as and it's a short cartoon. But he's got a lot of screen time, and he did well. So it's not some bullshit background thing, and he didn't audition for it. It was written for him. Perry is sort of getting in the ether where he's kind of showing up people's radars. I have a friend who texted me a YouTube clip that he ran into. Was like, is this the dude you watch all the time? My friend's never seen Perry. Yeah, it's funny you say that, because a lot of people have been like, yeah, because there's a lot of clip channels on YouTube. There's people on YouTube that put out more stuff than we do, which is pathetic, and I will get on that. But yeah, the bank job, I forgot about that. But yeah, I think he's slowly gonna creep up this year, as long as he keeps it together. And, like, that's what look. He can't put 100% into every stream. I don't expect that, but every stream can't be like last Sunday was. That's not realistic. But I would like him to see it, and he takes it seriously. But I would like to see him take it seriously, where, like, this is what you base your day around. And maybe a 6 o'clock start on a Friday is just too late for him. Maybe that's the thing too. No, he didn't follow any co-stars home and try to kiss them on the freeway. Garrett made sure of that. Garrett took him home. Garrett picked him up, brought him to my hotel, picked me up, and then took Perry home after. So, which was awesome. Why did I pick Perry under my wing? I couldn't get rich with him. Believe me, it was not a get rich thing. It's a long story, but Perry, I worked with Perry for a while. He was getting disability, and he lost it, and I've been supporting him for a long time, and then this happened, and other things happened, and blah, blah, blah. I don't have the energy to get into it all. You got Gavin to sign your Windy City Heat DVD during the Windy Weekend, and you agree that the Proud Boys was a joke that ran away. Yeah, look, I agree with that. First of all, I would never get him to sign your DVD. I don't know. I don't like it when people sign things that I have nothing to do with. Like, people have asked me to, like, at events to sign Windy City Heat, and I always feel weird about it, because, like, I had nothing to do with that. Or it's like getting somebody to sign an album that they didn't play on, like a band member. You know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to think of an example. Like a band member that joined the band later, to signing an early album. I don't think is right. But yeah, I don't want to waste any time on Gavin, but, like, I don't think I think he's very lazy in a way where I think he started that thing as a joke, whatever, and then was an absentee landlord, and then all of these creepy weirdos ran with it, and he checked out, And then by the time he checked back in, it was already out of his hands. And he's so stubborn that he'll never admit that he made a mistake. And he got mad at me one time when I said that this was probably a bad idea and it's getting out of control. And so I think that's the case. I think he was an absentee landlord, and then he just was too stubborn, and he just doubled down. And oh no, everything's fine. This is great. No, these are great guys. We're just a drinking club. It's like, no, you're not. Maybe you wanted it to be that, but other people turned it in. Turned it into something else. So, but whatever. I always liked him. Gavin and I go back a while, but I just have to check out with him. Yeah, Garrett. He was a prick. Like, even when Garrett was driving, I was in the back seat, and I'm just like, okay, Perry, now's the last chance for you to get your lines. And he's reading his lines, and then he's distracted. Like, you should not be in that lane. You should be in this lane. This is the speeding lane. This is the passing lane. Whatever he was saying, I was like, Perry, shut up and learn your lines. Don't worry about Garrett's driving. And by the way, you should drive with him sometime, Garrett. It's a different experience. How do I keep Perry focused? It's different. It's not always Mike, because it depends. It depends on his motivations at the time. Will the Big Three ever make another appearance again? I don't know. It's not up to me. Gavin should shave it. I think Gavin did shave a few years. I think he shaved for some movie he did or some show he did that never came out. I don't know. And he looked very weird, I remember. Yeah, I agree with Uncle Stubby here. Anything politics related sucks. Let's not do politics. Politics is bullshit. Not interested in getting into political debates with anybody. All right, I'll call Perry back. Sorry, it's been long enough. I don't know what he's in the middle of. We'll see. No answer.
Hello?
Are you busy?
Jumping in the shower. What's up?
Are you really jumping in the shower?
Yeah.
I thought you were doing that like 20 minutes ago when I talked to you.
Whatever.
Did something come up?
Yeah. I don't know.
What have you been doing?
Taking a shit again.
All right, I'll just call you tomorrow. Sorry. I'm sorry to bother you.
Thank you.
Bye. All right. We might have missed that window. He's so tired. I know it's so hard to sit in your chair in your home. No politics, no skateboarding. I agree with that. My favorite Friday the 13th movie. Okay, well, you got to say the caveat is you got to acknowledge that all of them are terrible. There's no good Friday the 13th movie. They're all bad. Having said that, I do enjoy them on some level. I think I'm going to go with Friday the 13th Part 6 as my favorite. 4 I would have as a second. And the reason I say 6 is they at least tried to make it a real movie. And they did things that no other previous Friday did, in that they showed you active police activity at least involved, which always should have been the case instead of showing up at the very end. I like the guy who played the sheriff in it. It had a good cast. I like the guy who played Tommy Jarvis. It had a good story. zombie Jason can be hit or miss, but I like it. I like the Alice Cooper song. I like the whole movie. I It's got its flaws, but they all do. They're all not great, but it's good. It's a good movie. It actually has. It has things in it that other movies don't, where it has actually some thought into it, into the pacing of it, and character decisions aren't moronic. 4 is good too. Four is good too, but four could have been better, I think. Jason Goes to Hell is a piece of shit. First of all, let's consider the only Jason movies I take into consideration are the original Paramount 8. Paramount Jason is the only canon Jason. Once you get into New Line territory with Jason, it's like the Disney sequels. It's like fan fiction. Even though I kind of enjoyed Jason Goes to Space. What's the one in space? Jason X, I think. I kind of like parts of that, even though I know it's terrible. But yeah, I'd go 6, then 4, then 3, then 2. And I kind of have a soft spot for 5, even though I know it's not real Jason. I kind of have a soft spot for it because it's got some great kills in it. It's good. Anyway, those movies, I don't really watch them now necessarily. But that's my answer to that question. Do I ever mess with AVGN? Yeah, I used to like his channel. Like, he was like one of the first things that got me to watch YouTube regularly. Not now though. He's a little too corporate now, and he really mails it in now. I don't like those other assholes that are on the channel. I only like him and Mike, and I didn't even like Mike at first, but and Mike's not even. I think he left the channel. I think it's just ran its course, unfortunately. So I don't get much thing out of it now, but. Back in the day, like 10 years ago and before, I loved that channel. So I guess the answer is yes. What's the funniest thing that happened with Perry when it was just me and him and no camera? That's a good question. I think about that. He did stuff. I stopped in. We had to stop. I stopped to get some eggs for a Friday stream last Friday because I didn't think he had any. And then that's when Scott's girlfriend Kaylin, fell off the horse. So I wanted to get a bunch of balloons. I was gonna get a whole bunch more, but there was only so many we could fit in the car. Like I was gonna get happy graduation and shit like that. And then he came into Party City, and I was. He was parking the car, and I went out, and he came in, and I was talking to this guy getting the balloons, and I was getting the Mario balloon, and he just comes right over, and he's like, hey, and he's like, can I use your bathroom, please? And I was like, and I just gave him a look. I was like, can you just wait till we go home? He's like, no, I gotta take a shit real bad. And it's right in front of this other guy that I was talking to, and and that's the conversation you'd have with a toddler. It's the conversation you'd have with a 4-year-old. Like they come in and be like, oh, can I use the potty? Can't you wait till we go home? No, I have to go poop. Okay, let's go. So that was kind of like eye rolling, and again, it's like he's bereft of shame. Do I like Red Letter Media? Yes, I was on the Red Letter Media bandwagon very early on when they were only doing Star Trek reviews before even the prequel. Reviews. I like I don't like everything Red Letter Media. I don't watch all their stuff, but I like the Half in the Bag when they do the movie reviews. It's like the closest I get to a decent Siskel and Ebert, even though they don't compare, obviously. Yeah, what about Jason X? They did I like Jason X has some cool stuff. I like Uber Jason and stuff, but it's very low budget and shit. Yeah, and Savini's effects in part 4 are great. Somebody asked me a favorite Leprechaun. I don't think I've ever seen a Leprechaun movie. It's one of those series. I never saw Hellraiser either. Never saw Phantasm, any of those. Yeah, Amy says the human Jason was a nice change of pace. I liked, even though it wasn't real Jason, spoiler alert, there's some shit in that movie, like the fucking sleeping bag kill is great, and man, that apparently the guy who directed Friday the 13th Part 5 was a former like porn director or soft porn director, and you can really tell in that sex scene where there's like a sex scene where like there's this girl with huge breasts, one of the best on-screen breasts I've ever seen, by the way, and they have sex, whatever. He just like fucking he kills the guy by a tree. Fake Jason doesn't he takes her in the fucking sleeping bag and just whacks it against the tree. It's great. But apparently that scene was like way longer. It was like basically hardcore porn, and they cut it down. It's funny. If you could ever see, I don't know if there's any way to see the original, but they really, the MPAA really brutalized the original any movie in the 80s with violence, and they foolishly never saved the original edits. So it's like the ones you have now are the ones that you live with. Apparently there's like a crazy amount of cuts that happen in Part 7, which I don't really care for, except in like brief parts. But it's a conversation for, I guess, if we ever do a horror garbage slasher show. I don't know how many people are interested in that. What do I think of the 92 storytelling? Do I think we need something new, or is it still funny? I go back and forth with it. I think there's a lot of things I think are kind of old and hack. Like, I really think calling him gay and this and stuff is just not that it's it just plays to a part of him that I don't like, especially in lieu of streaming on Twitch, who are very progressive. But I just think it's hack. And the 92 story, for me, I've always tried to make it a little different. And I liked the role-playing stuff last week where like different people were playing it. That stuff's funny. Or having him tell it from a different perspective is funny. Changing it up is funny, I think. So I think, and there's things with the streams in particular where there could be a subject or a storyline that you think has been done to death, or okay, we're moving on, like we're moving on in a way from food deliveries in a way, he's not the same, it's not the same, but there'll be something that happens that changes that and brings it back and makes it interesting again. And I think shop vacuuming the food is part of that, or like other things, or shooting it out or whatever. And I think that can be said for a lot of things, including the 92 thing. And so you guys are so creative, and that's what makes the channel is you guys, and the creativity that you guys come up with is amazing. So you have the ability to resurrect things that may be stale and breathe fresh life in it, because it could be fun, again. So that's my long-winded answer to that. Who was the other guy I was having lunch with? Daniel Carver? That would be Mark Hamill. My favorite horror movie from 2000 or later, that's really hard. Because there's not many. Yeah, I think horror, the genre always falls into trends. In like the late 70s, 80s, it was the slasher trend. And then as you got deep into the 90s, it was like the ironic trend. Like Scream came out, and all of a sudden you had to be self-effacing horror was the thing, with, wise cracks and, being self-aware. Which is one of the reasons I can't stand that Halloween H2O, because I felt it was too influenced by Scream. When a fucking Scream should be, influenced by other things. You shouldn't be influenced by that, like basically a parody in a way. And then early 2000s, you got into torture horror, which was the next trend. And then remake horror, and then the Blair Witch shit, and like on and on and on. There's always some trend. So in answer to your question, fuck. I really have a hard time thinking of something that you'll have to shoot me some names of movies that maybe I'm not thinking of. It's none of the Saw movies, even nothing like that. I've kind of checked out with the genre. I liked 1408 with John Cusack when that came out. The theatrical version, not the director's cut. That I liked. I thought that was legitimately creepy and had a thing to it. I think what was the big shit? Why can't I think of the one? Fuck. I can't even. I just blanked. Fuck. Just had a complete fart. I'll come back to that. Does Adult Swim have any interest in Tom and Perry? Perry and TomB? I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. I mean, I didn't exactly send in my resume. We'll see what happens. Oh, what are... yeah, I haven't played Mario Maker in a while, but I guess AVGN's daughter did some Mario Maker levels. Yeah, it's true. 1992 story is fascinating because as many times you heard it, he'll always tell it slightly different or add something or subtract something that'll make it interesting. 28 Days Later, yeah, it's okay, but it's, it's played, that whole genre is played out, so it was okay. Ring didn't do anything for me. I didn't see the Friday the 13th remake. Some people say that's okay. Saw 1 was actually genius psychological horror. I remember it being okay, but then, of course, like anything else, they run it into the ground. What's the... Oh, Get Out wasn't terrible. It wasn't terrible. I guess you'd count that as horror. I don't count Shutter Island. I consider suspense. I don't consider that horror, but that's very good. I didn't like Blair Witch at all in the theater. I saw it in the theater. There's only one scene that scared me, and the entire thing that I generally found creepy. But aside from that, it was crap. No, George. I've never seen Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer. I think I was. It came out when I was a kid, and it was like. I think I remember seeing Siskel and Ebert review, and they were very like, this is not for kids. It's really deranged, and it didn't attract me to it. So I've always kind of thought of it as very, I don't know, like, not okay to see. And yeah, there's a lot of horror that came out. Like I didn't see like Paranormal or fucking what's the Final Destination, any of those. I never saw those. And I never saw any Korean movies. No, I saw the whatever that fucking thing that came out last year was, the one that won the Academy Award over Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which was the fucking joke. I forget the name of it now. My memory's getting like Perry. Parasite, yeah. Ugh. Yeah. August Underground trilogy, watch with the family. Quiet Place was okay. I'll agree with that. It was okay, and it was good because it was different. It was different. It was like something different. I hate what's her name though, Emily Blunt. Can't stand her. Really hard for me to enjoy a movie that she's in. Oh yeah, I'll agree with Hereditary. That was very good. That I'll probably say is a very good horror movie that came out. Not so much Midsommar though. I didn't like that one. I thought that was a little out there. I respected it for being different, but Hereditary. That definitely, if a horror movie, you see a horror movie and you think about it like days, because most horror movies you walk out of and like you forget it like 20 minutes later. But if you're still thinking about it like a day or two after, that's pretty good. The Conjuring series minus the Annabelle doll movie. Yeah, I saw the first one, and it was fine. Yeah, it was fine. Yeah, it's okay. I wouldn't put any kind of special gold star over it. It was fine. And I don't know the other ones. But anything that makes money, they're gonna, especially in that genre, they're gonna make a sequel. They're eventually gonna dilute it by making more films. Is there the Creep Show series I hear is pretty terrible. And I like the first Creep Show. I like parts of the second Creep Show too. This the movie, which is disappointing because that has such a great potential to be such a good anthology series. It's so disappointing. Movies have been too expensive to be worth it for 15 years. I get that, but you know what? There's ways around that. You go to matinees and stuff because I always like going to the movies, even though obviously I haven't been going lately. But I had that movie pass. I don't know how many people had movie pass, but that was amazing. Like 2 years ago or something like that, a friend of mine talked me into getting it, and it was like, shit. I forget. I don't even remember how much it was a month. It might have been $10 a month, if that. Was it 20? I don't even remember. But I remember going to so many movies, and my work schedule was enough where I can go to the gym in the morning, see a movie, and I would see everything. Like I would almost and then I'd rack up points at Regal because there was a Regal close to me, and then from the points I can see I can bring somebody or something. It was great. Yeah. Did I know Cartnarks is a fan of PCL? Yes, I know. Yeah, I do know that. I want to get Perry on Cartnarks in live action form. I'm a huge fan of that YouTube channel. So it's one of my favorite YouTube channels is Cartnarks, and I love that the guy behind it is a big fan. It's great. It's great. Anybody that hasn't checked out Cartnarks on YouTube, please do so. It's fantastic. How are my stocks? They're doing okay. I made a big mistake last Wednesday, and I blame being at Perry's or on the way to Perry. I wanted to sell my AMC stock when it was at an all-time high last Wednesday, and I was going to sell it, and then Perry picked me up. I get in the car, and I forgot the fucking time difference, because the bell closes at 4, and it's like 1. I thought I had time by the time I got to his place. By the time I realized it was a little after 1, which is the fucking closing time on the West Coast. So I missed, I should have sold when it was in the 70s, and then it dipped the next day. And it's been going up and down. I'm talking specifically about AMC. And I've held on to it, but now, just today, they got a boost in their credit rating, so everybody says it's going to go back up. But I probably should have, the right move to do would be to sell it on Wednesday and buy the dip the next day. But I just don't have the energy for that. I really don't. Yeah. You had a case involving MoviePass? I would love to hear about that because they were terrible. The worst business plan ever. Terrible. And then because I don't think they thought it out, because most subscription plans, if you have whatever like that, they plan on you not using it. So let's say you get American Airlines did this thing in the 80s where they offered this lifetime pass, flight pass. And I think it was $200,000 would get you a lifetime pass for American Airlines. And you can use this pass to fly anywhere you want first class. And you paid that one-time fee and you can go anywhere. It's for life. And I think you can transfer it once. And to the point where you can go up to an airport if you have this pass, and there could be a full flight the day of. Let's say you want to go to Hawaii, and I want to go one-way ticket to Maui. It's a full flight. Well, I have a flight pass. Okay, they will bump somebody out of first class to seat you. That's how crazy it is. But yeah, like a gym membership, they want you not to use it. They're banking on they're banking on 70% not using the service. Like a gym, if 100% of the members showed up at the gym all the time, it would be insane. You couldn't fit them in there. So they make their money off people not going. However, with MoviePass, it was different. MoviePass, it was basically almost 100% of people using it all the time because it was crazy. It was a crazy deal. How could you not do it? And it fell under, and they were doing all kinds of weird things at the end. They would limit you. you had to buy your tickets early in the day, and then they'd run out of money for the day. Towards the very end, they ran out of money early in the day. So it was just crazy. So I know there was a ton of lawsuits involving them. They just had something passed this week where I just saw the headline. I didn't see the article. The guys who were behind it. But then I had then I got when Regal started their program, I got that, but it's on hold now, obviously because there's been no movies or anything like that. But I think I paid for a year up front, and I saw a lot of movies with it. But there's limitations. But like for instance, they don't let you see IMAX movies or like big screen movies. But I'll just fucking go to something that, if I'll buy a ticket for something else and go in there, because you could see on the app how many seats are available. Okay, well, this place is basically wide open. I'm just going to go into the IMAX theater. It's not like they're checking your tickets. I feel like that's a very Dizak thing to do, by the way. Buy a matinee ticket for like a cheap movie and then walk into like the big IMAX screen. Yeah, tell me about it off the stream. I really want to hear about that one day. That we'll do that, and then we'll hash out. I actually, Amy, you'll appreciate this. While I was on the plane, I was like, I was writing notes and stuff for like stuff to do for TomB week. The guest thing didn't come to me until after the shoot, right after the shoot on Saturday, because I really wasn't planning on being there Sunday, and then I planned on the guest thing, and that came out. But I was writing notes. And then I just started writing episode titles for the Dizak sitcom, and I would just be random, like season 1, episode 9. Dizak gets in trouble, and then I'd put like guest star Art Carney, like the TV Guide write up, if it was like an '80s sitcom or something like that. And I'd be like guest star Ed Asner, Dizak runs into an old nemesis and has to think quick on his feet. This Thursday at 8:30 p.m. on Dizak. I was just kind of like hashing out little, just to keep myself entertained. That's what I was doing, because I didn't want to watch any of the in-flight entertainment. I was done. Like I usually load up my tablet with a movie or something like that. I didn't do that, but I was just in the notebook that got fucking doused. Actually, I had Dizak notes, like just sitcom notes for like the Dizak. Yeah, all episodes should be right after a snack. Yeah. Yeah, that's great. And I had just like, I was trying to think of it like a shitty, almost like not even a network sitcom, like a syndicated sitcom in the 80s, like those syndicated sitcoms, like a Small Wonder type, like really shitty budget. I was trying to cast him, like I couldn't come up with anybody. But I had a lot of guest stars who I wanted in the episode. I think I got through 4 of them, just like little blurbs, like like Dizak gets busted for speeding, but turns it to his advantage when da 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 da. Like he's always in the car with a client, and like switch places. Like I had one where he got in a minor fender bender, and he made his client switch places with him. Like wait, what? We're off to my court case. I know, but I don't have any insurance. Quickly, switch places. And it was like, what? Like, what kind of lawyer is this? It's like, he's Dizak. And I think that's just I was gonna like rename the show, because you don't want to name a show after somebody like who you're really basing it on. So I just called it Dizak. What computer am I using? I'm using my computer. I'm home. My home computer. My home desktop. I don't have a laptop, obviously. Yeah, and they're all sold out. I got to do some deep research in the laptop, because the one thing that disappointed me about that Surface 4, the one that I bought, and I bought the spec'd out version, is it didn't do what I really wanted to do, which is natively run the stream the way I run it here. Instead, I had to use it as a portal. If I can find one that can actually do it, I'd even go for a MacBook, and I've never owned a Mac. But it's going to be more money than, because the one I spec'd out was like $6,000, and I don't have $6,000. The one I thought spending $2,500 was a lot. So there's obviously way more expensive options, but I'll figure it out. I'm gonna have to do some remote streams over the summer, so I'll need to figure that out. yeah, like I want to get Dizak wardrobe right and everything, and really, I don't know, cast somebody from the '80s, like like maybe an actor that's seen better days. Portable neck break in his leather briefcase, yeah, and it's all like, it's all, and the briefcase is like all ripped and stuff, and it's just nothing's organized. But yeah, I wrote little Dizak I wrote little Dizak notes because the Delta One cabin's actually pretty cool. And the thing that I'll complain about it is, and this is a rookie mistake on my part, is when I bought the seat, there weren't a lot of seats left in the first cabin, and I got seat 1A right at the front, and I've never had 1A as a seat, but man, it's just not conducive to like relaxing because the the cabin crew that's right where they are in the front, and they're all like yapping and talking the entire flight, so you can't really relax. I didn't bring my noise canceling headphones because I couldn't even fit them, and they're all slamming things, like they're opening the closets to like the cabins to like get their stuff out, and opening it, slamming it all flight. So the way back I was in the middle. That's the way to go. If you're ever in first class, you want to be in the middle. You don't want to be too far in the back, you don't want to be too far in the front, you want to be in the middle, just to avoid all the racket they cause. And they didn't serve any meals either. Yeah, that's the thing with Dizak is he's at other people. You'd like to get like there's got to be some support for him somewhere where like former clients of Dizak just to tell stories, just to get this fictional show done. If I ever make enough money, I really want to shoot a pilot for it. Todd Glass is the perfect one for that. That's not bad. That's not bad casting. Rick Dukerman from The Burbs. Yeah, he's dead, unfortunately. But you want somebody like that. You want somebody with like really thinning hair, just sweaty. The car has no air conditioning, by the way. All the windows are down all the time. And he's got like, fast food cups that have been reused. He's the kind of guy that goes into Burger King and like runs into the restroom to like wash out his cup and then refills it with like, Coke or Pepsi if it's in the '80s, and then goes back out. And then if he gets caught, like, no, I was just in here, I spilled it. Sir, no, you have to buy a new one. Like, no, I just went through the drive-through and it spilled in my lap, so I'm just refilling it. And then it's not even worth arguing with him because he's out the door like, oh, okay. It's like something he does every day. He's got to be careful about what fast food places to dart into to get his free refills. John C. Riley, I think, is too overused. I wouldn't want him. Yeah, he gets the free water cup, but he gets a Coke. That's totally him. Yeah, he gets that little clear cup for the water. That's a total Dizak move. Yeah, there's so many little details about Dizak. God. And then, of course, the show has to be sponsored by all the places that he gets food from. Like you'd want to, like he'd go to like Dairy Queen and get whatever, and then you see a commercial for Dairy Queen in the next break. Tom Green would be good if he was a little older. Did you miss the story of how I wrangled Perry away from Dizak? It wasn't a story. It was I just wore him down over time. I just kind of showed him like, um, I mean, Jesus, it's amazing that I had to even do that. Like, he was like, he's a good lawyer. He's helped me and my family. Like, really? How's he helped you? He's involved doing all that, and then I forget what it was. It's so long ago now. I forget what the click was. It was over time. It was like the Jehovah's Witness thing. It was over time. It didn't happen overnight. I just want, and I wasn't saying anything fake. I was being sincere. like, Perry, this guy's not good for you, and then I don't know. I guess eventually he saw it, but I don't remember the beats of it. Salvador was a little easier because once that $500 thing happened, it was pretty easy. But he was still in his life. I think Perry had a hard time saying no to people because he was surrounded by people that just took advantage of him. There's so many people that and I just one by one, like, yeah, Perry, these are vultures. They're not good for you. You're an amazing writer, TomB. Thank you. Well, remember that in Emmy season when Dizak comes up for some awards. Amy and I will go up and accept. He got disbarred for a number of infractions where he pulled several ploys or made excuses to draw cases out or not deliver service to his client. Yeah, I believe that. I almost prefer Dizak fiction to reality. Like, I don't even really pay attention. Like, if somebody posts a picture of him, I don't even want to see it. Like, I have this own version of what he looks like in my head, and that's what I like. Especially now that it's just renewed my interest in him, because as somebody I haven't thought about him in a long time, but now that the comments keep coming, and there was one, I don't remember what it was. I think it was the one with the McGriddle or something like that. It just hit me the right way. I was at Perry's and I was behind there and I was in tears. I was fucking crying. Like, I just didn't want to. I had to put my head down. Like, I couldn't even. Like, my body was shaking. Like, that's how. Because Perry just like turned around to look at me. He like put his arms up, and I forget what it was. It was just like the McGriddle. It was something. I forget what. I don't even remember the details of it. 2 McGriddles and some hotcakes. That was it. I was just. Oh my God! I just lost my shit. To the point where it was almost unprofessional. It was so. It just got me. I think the people, and there was other people in there. I forget. I think Garrett and Tyler turned around and looked at me because I was making noise. I was just. I couldn't breathe at one point. It was just. Normally I'm just rock steady, like going through these, like boom, 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 and I can acknowledge something's funny without reacting to it. But that one just, that just hit me right in the gut. You saw the real Dizak? Yeah, I've seen pictures of him. He's just not. He's just not there. Tom called Perry back and tell him Dizak called and asked him to pick up 2 McGriddles. Well, I don't consider it breaking if I'm behind. I'm behind Perry's. I'm in the back there because I'm not in front of him. Like, there's times here, like tonight, like I mute. I'll mute myself and let the comments run for a bit. And there was a couple tonight that made me like I'm smirking and laughing here on this end because he can't, it's because they're funny. It's some of the stuff's funny. I'm multitasking. Obviously, I'm talking to people. I'm going through the offers that Joey and Hero are giving me, or I'm doing something. But so. It's hard for me to, but sometimes I'll zero in on sometimes like, wow, that's really, especially when I just love his reaction. Yeah, the dilly bar from Dairy Queen. I mean, do you look up, like, do you go to like websites to look up their menus and just write down, oh, that's a Dizak order, like that's a Dizak. I saw one the other night. I was where were we looking? We were looking somewhere. I must have been when I was in LA. It was Del Taco. We were at the Del Taco drive-thru, me and Robert, and I was looking at the menu for Dizak items. Like, and I saw a couple. It's like they always stand out to you. I'm like, oh, that's a Dizak. That's a Dizak order right there. I was like, Dizak would get that. Like it was like there was something like Cine Tacos or something like that, and I'm like, oh, that's Dizak. That's Dizak. Yeah, you want to get the most Dizakian item that you can find. like I don't know, Carl's Jr. or something. Like yeah, like oh that's a Dizak. So it's so great with that spawned. It's just really I love Perry's guy. Like what's with this fucking guy? Like he's just like you think about the logic of fucking this fucking attorney that was in his life for so long, and all of a sudden circles his way back years later and is just commenting on his stream at $5 a clip. Telling that our stream and we have a case and he's just watching. It's so fucking stupid and funny. That's what I love about the channel. It's just so ridiculous that he, I don't know how to explain it. I didn't get to try Carl's Jr. Jimmy Cheesecake. That's another one. Oh, Tim, you sent the microwave? I sent the microwave, and I wanted to thank you for taking it in and apologize because I knew if I didn't send it when you were there, there's no way he would. But yeah, that's true. So I was wondering whoever brought the microwave if they timed it, for me to be there because that fucking thing was heavy. Like it was like I was surprised that he tossed it over the terrace as well as he did. But that's cool. Yeah. Okay. I was wondering who that was. There was no note attached. Well, there was a note attached, but there was nobody reached out to me and told me who it was. So that's cool. I'm glad it was you. Dizak orders a burger with the works, picks half of it off to make a salad for dinner. Yeah. Well, Dizak is also the kind of guy that goes to Taco Bell and says he wasn't fully satisfied with the meal and gets a refund. I don't know if Taco Bell still does that, but they had this promotion where like if you're not fully satisfied, just tell us and we'll refund you. And I guarantee you a lot of people took advantage of that. Dizak would put Perry's door handle on with Scotch tape and never mention it to him. Unfortunately, I was not in that position because Perry was staring right at me and you heard it. You heard it crack. Like I opened the door and it was like done right off and he was just, man, right down my throat. And like 5 minutes later, he was talking about how much he was looking forward to the stream and how this trip was good and he was looking forward to the shoot. But man, that just, once that door handle happened, like last Friday, that's kind of why I came back for Sunday because I hated the way he was last Friday. It was okay, I guess, but he was such a prick because of that door handle. And I think he was mad at me, and this is just my theory, I think he was a bit ornery on Wednesday because I told him to wait until Thursday to fix it because he was all out, he was ready to go out the door to go take care of that car, a door at like, I don't know, I forget, it was like 2:30 in the afternoon. No, yeah, maybe 2:30 in the afternoon. We were streaming at 5. And I was like, well, you got to be back by 5. You gotta be back by 4:30, really. He's like, I don't know if I'm gonna, I don't know, my mechanic said it could take a couple hours. I don't know if I'll be back in time. Well, this is the stream, right? This is what you do. I know, but it's my door. I made the appointment with my mechanic. And I'm like, Perry, can you just do it tomorrow? Can you call him now and say you'll go tomorrow instead? Oh, you're a fucking prick. Oh, you're a fucking, why am I a prick? That makes sense. That makes sense to do it tomorrow. And then he begrudgingly did it. And I think he was mad at me for doing it because he was, again, it's like if one thing pisses him off and is on his brain, he just won't get over it. And I think that's kind of why he was prickly on Wednesday. Well, some people said they liked Wednesday, but, because for the 92 stuff, but I thought he was a jerk. Yeah, a full episode of Dizak making a clank and we'll ride to Sam's Club up to load up on free samples and buy nothing. Yeah, he would also walk around the whole store getting the free samples and then like quickly puts a hat on and some glasses and gets the free samples again, hoping the person giving out the samples doesn't recognize him. Tom could do the stream without Perry. Well, that'd be it would be it'd be a very low revenue stream. How was the flight? I said the flight was good. Flight was good. Flight back from San Diego was pretty quick. It wasn't that bad. It was like 4.5 hours, maybe a little longer, but it was easy. And that San Diego airport is so great. It's small and it's you get dropped off and you're immediately through security. It's great. Can I break the door handle next trip? I'll try. It might. I don't know. Yeah, it depends on if we're doing on the way to do a stream or not. I still got to get the waxing done. Dan would also like to see someone drop an ice cube and wait for him to slip. Yeah, God. Yeah, I talked about the Universal Tour, RMB, and how disappointed I was. I was really disappointed in it. And I just brief recap. One of the really the only thing I wanted to see was the Psycho House and the Bates Motel, and the tram like doesn't even slow down for it. They just like barely mention it. They put more stuff into like their stupid like thrill stuff, like the earthquake in the train station and the tram. You know, they're doing their job, so you know I get it, but it's always just like God, the tram. Oh no, there's something going wrong. Oh no, look out over there. And it's just like eye roll, and it's like, oh, here's the water that comes down the stairs. This is how movies are made, you know, like fire and stuff. And then they got this stupid King Kong thing. I would just rather go through old sets, you know, that probably aren't even there anymore. It was just a bummer. I think you got to go back in time to get a good tour, like literally like the late 60s, maybe early 70s. The Jaws thing was cool because that's, you know, you always see that somewhere. It was cool to see it because just, you know, it's so iconic. But yeah, I don't go out of your way for it. How much to tape eggs to my ceiling? It would be really hard in this room because the ceilings are high. Because I'm on the 4th floor in my building. It's the highest floor. And the ceilings are high, so I would need a ladder. Yeah, go on east to get the tailwind. That's true. Yeah, and it was a nice flight. You know, it was fine. It was just, and that's it. You know, and again, thanks to Captain Kirk for the hotel hookup, because if I didn't have that, this trip would not have come together the way it did. I might have been able to pull off like one TomB stream, and fly in for just do the shoot and fly right back, you know, like a few days. But I was able to extend it a bit, and really like because we had to do a rehearsal too for his lines, which we did on Friday. So it was really nice, and then the staff there were great. And I'll tell you what, that Hilton Universal, Robert and I went to because we again, I was fried after the shoot. I was really fried, and I just wanted to stay at the hotel. I hadn't gone to the pool once the entire week because I had no time. I said, you know, I really want to get to the pool. We went down to the pool. We were going to get food there. We decided to go upstairs, and one thing led to another. We went to the buffet at the hotel, which I'm usually anti-food, like hotel buffets. This thing was first rate. I mean, they had everything. They had friggin' bone marrow at the buffet. It was amazing. It was amazing. And it's not like it was a 5-star hotel. It was very nice. I'd say it's a very nice 4-star, but all out. It was amazing. And then we went back to the pool, did some hot tub. It was the rest of Saturday night was very chill and relaxed, and it was because of that hotel. It gave me my sanity back, and also being able to shower late Sunday night after being in Perry's and having the computer destroyed and everything. That was such a great thing too. So big shout out to Captain Kirk. Oh, that's interesting. Usually flight plan for a half hour less flight time going east than west due to the winds. Yeah, it was super quick. Like it was, I mean, for San Diego to New York's not exactly a hop skip. It was cool. 9 4-star hotel. No, it was good. You know, the room was nice, and I got picked up by my friend Brian, who picked me up at LAX, and he just brought me a ton of booze. The hotel had a fridge, and that's another thing I look for too. Anytime I stay somewhere, for a longish time, you want a room with a fridge in the room, not one that they can give you because they'll usually charge you for that. But a room that has a fridge. So this had an empty fridge. It wasn't a mini bar, and he just brought me all this like beer and water, and he brought me some edibles and stuff, and it just made the trip so much better. Yeah, it worked out amazingly. It was really nice, and it was just, you know, and I had friends staying. I had a friend stay. Robert came up on Friday because we had an extra bed in the room, and he stayed there for 2 nights, and it was just nice. Did I finish the Jameson? No, I didn't. I made a good dent in it though. I made a good dent in it. I had to leave it in San Diego, and hopefully it'll be waiting for me when I go back. But that Jameson was great, really great. Thank you to whoever sent that. Yeah, California in general is expensive, but it was nice, the whole thing. You missed the Perry stream tonight. I'm not into edibles. I only take them for, I've talked about this before. I'm only really into them for sleep. But I had to take a couple this trip just to get to sleep at the right time, and you know. You're on the hotel committee for your company, so you're glad for the good review, so you go report back. Yeah, I mean, I wrote them a good review, and there was this guy, the hotel manager. This guy, his name is Kevin, and because I had a little bit of an issue with my bill checking out, because there was like some food stuff, and you know, I was like, they dinged me for parking every night, even though I didn't park at the only time there was a car was as a Friday when Robert came up, and they had me for parking. I'd mentioned it checking out, but I checked out really late. Not really late, but later, and the guy there said, "Oh, you know, I'll have to forward this to my manager." I wasn't trying to be a Dizak or anything like that, but I was like, "Hey, I don't want to, pay for it." And by the way, the parking there is very reasonable. It was $30 a night compared to most places in LA are $50, $60. Very reasonable, especially being so close to, like Universal. But they got me like every night. It was a bigger bill than I was expecting. I knew there was some overages, like food stuff. But so anyway, I mentioned it, and then I got a call from Kevin. He's like, "Hey, I took care of it for you, no problem." And I was like, "Yeah, it was nice." So, out of all the 3 TomB streams, what day was my personal favorite? Well, I don't know. Maybe the first one, Wednesday, because I didn't know how it was going to work, and we kind of made it work. Sunday, I wanted to go big because for a couple of reasons. Number one, I didn't like the way he was on that. I didn't like the way he was on that Friday stream, and 2, after being at the shoot and everybody from Adult Swim, the shoot, like talking about how much they love the streams and that they were going to be watching, I didn't want to risk doing a remote one, and I wanted to go big. And that's when I thought, like, well, I cleared the couch on Friday. We can almost do an audience. And I thought, like, oh, studio audience. And I was like thinking, like, oh, who do I want for the studio audience? I was like, okay, well, Garrett for sure, Tyler for sure, because Tyler was hitting me up, giving compliments about the streams, and then some locals, and my buddy Robert, though he didn't want to do the whole thing, but he came to pick me up towards the end, so he was there towards the end, and then and Tony Hawk was a surprise because I wasn't paying attention to the moderator chat on Facebook, which I normally do, and they were vetting, because I had said at one point in the stream, like, hey, come on over, kind of kidding around, and he's like, hey, there's a guy that wants to come over, but wait for, and then Joey, I think, wisely just greenlit it on his own. And then I answered the door. And it was Tony Hawk, and I was as surprised as anybody else, but he was great. And, we just kind of ran with it. Oh, you're on the hotel committee for your company, so you're glad for the good review. Okay, so I read that one. Oh, you fly for DHL. Interesting. Interesting. Diamond members get a free late checkout. That's cool. Yeah, it made me wish I kept up with my Hilton honors. I used to have a decent amount. I fucking, like, over the years, just... I was traveling a lot more for work years ago. And I had a decent amount saved up, but they've all been gone over the years. Oh, that's right. Garrett came to the Garrett came to the first one. Yeah. Well, technically, it was after hours with Garrett, but yeah, it was a long night. I wanted to, yeah, because I know I said early. Somebody said it was a pleasant surprise to see me Sunday. I had said on Friday this would be my last time, but I didn't feel right about that. I didn't feel ending on that note. I didn't like it. Not that Friday was terrible. I just didn't feel like that was the note. I was like, we're gonna go. We're gonna go back, and we're gonna make it big. Was I sometimes scared that Perry might try to hit me when I'm not? Not really. There's always the risk. It's like being an animal trainer. When you like, somebody in a zoo, not to compare him to an animal, but like, it's like when you're working with like a tiger or something like that. There is a chance that tiger can lash out at you, and that's the risk you take. He did ding me a couple of times. I didn't make a big deal of it because I didn't want to like make a thing of it on the stream. But there was one point where he elbowed me really hard into my ribs. I was sitting next to him, and he just kind of like really hard jolted me, and I felt that. And then he stepped on my foot. Maybe it was Wednesday or Friday, and I felt like I broke a toe. And I don't think it was on purpose, but he like really leaned into it. And I was like, I was seeing stars. It was really, I was like, God damn. But I didn't want to react hard to it on the stream. But yeah, there was a couple of times where he like, doing some stuff. But I felt, I don't know. I felt good about it. And and Amy makes a good point. I was going to get into actually, that Perry was a human being on the first After Hours, and I like showing that side of him, like where Perry was actually watching clips of himself from that stream and kind of laughing at it and getting it. So that's why I would say I like. Thing. Well, I bet the Hilton in Nagoya is amazing. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Hiltons. That Hilton, because I've been through the Hiltons in LA quite a bit over the years. I've been to the one in Beverly Hills. It's closer to Perry, but it's ridiculously overpriced, and it's not near anything. The Universal one is right. It's right near Burbank, Hollywood. You got Studio City right there. And it's the 101 is literally down the block. You're right on the 101, right to Reseda if you need to be. So that's for future Perry Caravello lives. That'll be my go-to. Assuming I got to figure out how I can make it work in a lot of ways. But it was great. But yeah, Hilton's just a consistent property. You don't get that with Marriott or Sheraton or anything like that. Because you can get good ones and bad ones. Hilton, some of the smaller ones like the Hilton, Gardens or something like that. They can be. If you're staying for a long time, it can be weird. But Hilton, it's hard to go wrong. Did I know that Cartnarks is a fan of Perry? I mentioned, yeah, we talked about it earlier. Yeah, Cartnarks a big fan, big supporter, and I'm hoping to get Perry on Real Cartnarks. Oh, I've stayed at that Aloft in LA. Yeah, like I've stayed at hotels in LA now, and I pass by them, and they've changed ownership or changed names. And I'm like, oh, I remember. What did Degrom do tonight? By the way, I saw a lot of people mention Degrom. For the next time, maybe we have the studio audience be all drag queens. I'd be afraid about that. Will you see Perry in New York City? Yeah, eventually. And I was thinking about that, like, oh, I could have Perry stay with me at my place, but it's just not the same. Because, like, I think he'd be very docile in somebody else's place. Like, he wouldn't care. Like, I think he'd be, like, oh, tape an egg to Tom's ceiling. Like, I don't want to do that. I want to be respectful. And I just see him. I don't know. I wouldn't want him too neutered, but eventually that'll happen. I do want to get him to New York City eventually. We'll see. I think I've been talked into doing. If we ever do a Perry Caravello live event, I think I've been talked into. Yeah, we need to put Perry in a hotel with his own shit. That's the way to go. Yeah, where it's his place. I think I've been talked into doing a thing in Vegas. If we ever do a live Perry Caravello, because I was thinking New York. I definitely don't want to do LA. But maybe Vegas would be the way to go. And we could all just hang out. Yeah, I think Perry in New York would be good for like extra footage. Just like eating pizza and stuff. Like going to Coney Island or whatever. Oh, he might be injured. Fuck. Ugh, that fucking figures. Well, that's a bummer. Wow. How far are you from like Vegas, Hero? Yeah, we need to find like a place where we could do a live thing from. And how would a live stream work? Like what would we do? Like I don't. I think it could be fun, and maybe base it around something like I don't know, like some kind of thing. You've seen Perry gamble? Where have you seen Perry gamble? I've never seen that. Perry Caravello and Branson. That'd be cool. We do Vegas. I have some points at Caesars to get Tom a dope suite, and we can get Perry a horse shit room. Oh, I didn't know you were that close. Cause did you move recently? Because remember last year when I was in Vegas, you were a while away. Um, yeah, I was thinking about going. I was thinking about actually going to Caesars in August, but I don't think that's going to happen. I'd love to get him a hooker. I think we have to do Australia eventually, just because of it's so strong. We'll see. We'll see if the channel grows significantly. We'll have more options. Oh, yeah, I see this headline now. DeGrom's injury exit dampens Mets win over Padres. Fuck. Oh, that's too bad. Jeez, DeGrom's just amazing. He's one of these guys. Even if you're not a Mets fan, he's just. It's just, the fact that you can be alive at a time where a guy like that is pitching. It's like, I'm way too young to remember Tom Seaver. I'm old enough to remember Dwight Gooden. There's very few franchise players like that come around where you could say like, wow, I experienced it. So if you can experience that, see as many. And so I saw that he was pitching tonight, and I was kind of bummed that I was missing it. And I have YouTube TV, which I never watch, by the way. But I have it set to record the games. But I always find myself not really watching the game. I think it's kind of like Perry Caravello live for some people, where if you don't see it live, it kind of does. It's hard to rewatch it, like, because the excitement's out. It's like already over, Oh, Festival Supreme. That's right. They had a casino. Yeah, I forgot about that. That's right. I forgot. Like, I was wondering, like, was there like a casino trip that I missed somewhere? Oh, they don't expect DeGrom to miss his next start. That's good. Are you a Mets fan, Matt? Or are you just reporting? Australian cops said next year before it's open again. Wow, they're not fucking around. Wow, we wouldn't be going over there anytime soon. But yeah, okay, good. If you guys are down for a PCL Vegas trip, I think that's what we do. Sometime, I don't know when it would be. I really want to revamp the stream just a little bit. Like I was hinting at it tonight, but I want to add some segments to the stream, but it would require his participation, and I don't know how that's going to go over, but I do want to like shake things up a little bit. Was I familiar with Zach or Michael before he was offered the role in Smiling Friends? No, I have to say no, I wasn't. But I became very familiar with them after, and really, really impressed with both of them. And I spent a lot of time with Zach on Saturday. We did the shoot, and he's just an amazing guy, and gave our stream a lot of props. Like, he was talking about how great the things are. He was getting on me a little bit about needing to post more on YouTube, which I agreed. I do. He was talking about how good the thumbnails are, and he was talking about, it's funny, this is funny, he was talking about how important thumbnails are, because he comes from YouTube. Zach does. This is the guy that created the show, co-created the show Smiling Friends, and co-wrote the part for Perry for Adult Swim. And he was talking about how important thumbnails are in on YouTube, and saying that we do a good job on ours, and was saying that they even have gone so far in the contract that they have for the show, whereas when Smiling Friends goes on HBO Max, which it will because it's a Warner Brothers property, they have it in their contract that they pick the thumbnails for each episode, which is really smart, because he was telling me like most of these platforms like Netflix or HBO Max, they just basically randomize the thumbnails, and the thumbnails are not thought about as well as they are with something like YouTube. So they're really thinking hard about it. I think the show's gonna be very successful. I really do. He has a great sense of humor. His wheelhouse of comedy falls right into mine. We were talking about Norm Macdonald. He wanted Norm Macdonald. Norm didn't do it, but they got Gilbert Gottfried. He was another mutual favorite. So we were chatting. The producer had to shut us up because him and I were kind of chatting up about our favorite things and things that we like and things that we don't like. And then the producer's like, okay, we got to shoot this scene now. So you guys got to be quiet. And then we were basically co-directing Perry, which was strange. Oh, you're only a Bet fan when you put money on them. That's good. Well, out of the New York teams, you picked the right one. I told you guys I tried to get Perry a hooker once years ago, and I didn't try. We almost did, and it didn't go through, and I always regretted it. So I would really like that. I think he would like it too. Getting him a hooker, a nice Vegas one, nice high end Vegas. Well, it doesn't have to be that high end, but a nice Vegas one. Dave Attell is your favorite comedian? What year is this? Dave Attell now. Perry, TomB and Perry is like Mark Harris and Martha Ray. Yeah. Perry's very Martha Ray like sometimes. That's the thing with him, is like you gotta pick him up when his energy's down. That's like he was annoying me tonight. He was like, oh, it's not his fucking health. It's just he was up today at like because he was texting me and I was in bed because I got in late last night, and he's texting me. What time was it? It was like he was texting me at 10 a.m. my time, which if we all do the math on that, 9, 8, 7 a.m. his time. He was up at 7 and he was like, oh, and I said, okay, take a nap at least. And then he lays down for like a half hour, and then he's texting me, are we going to be calling people tonight? No, that's for Sunday. You don't have to call people tonight. Please get some sleep. And then, so he's up all day. It's like by the time 6 o'clock rolls around, that's like 10 o'clock for most of us, for him. Maybe even later. Now we got all liberal comedians, which sucks. I got news for you. All comedians suck. All comedians suck. Every single one of them. Except Norm. Maybe Gobert. That's my opinion, but I think everyone, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they all suck. Yeah, I'm the same way, Joey. When I take a nap, if I take a nap on like a stream night, I'll wake up like really like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. Now I feel more tired. Good night, Tony. By the way, Tony, thanks for all those gifted subs tonight, man. You were the star of tonight's stream. Really, I don't know if I articulated that enough. How much we appreciate that. It's amazing, really amazing. Those gifted subs are so important. Good night, and I'm glad you're falling asleep to my voice. I've heard that before. Howard Stern is better than ever. Yes, said no one ever. No, not Bill Burr. Bill Burr stinks. Bill Burr was fine like 10 years ago. Same with Colin Quinn. Colin Quinn was great. I just think Colin Quinn, and I like Colin Quinn, I do. But it's just the same thing. It's just, I don't think Tim Dillon is amazing. Jackie Martling. No, none of these people are ringing my bell. But that's cool. If you like them, that's fine. Don't let my opinion sway you. I'm an opinionated guy, so if you're into those people, that's fine. If they make you laugh, that's great. Stuttering John has his own podcast. Yeah, it's unlistenable. It's terrible. I don't know if it's gotten any better. It used to be like absolutely brutal. And I've listened to it a couple of times when he's talking to somebody Stern related if I'm really bored, but man, it's tough to get through. I can't stand Louis C.K. Cannot stand him. Never liked him, even before his weird masturbation thing. I never liked him. Thanks, Tony. I really cannot thank you enough. Really appreciate it, and I love that sentiment. That's why I love this community. That's why I work really hard to get these streams out and try to make them the best. Because you guys make them the best, and just that support is so important. It really helps me so much not having to. I mean, just these past bunch of months, like since March, not having to foot the bill for Perry's rent has been such a gift, and it's thanks to you guys, and really appreciate it. So good night, and we'll talk soon. Oh, see, Don Rickles doesn't count for when I say comedians suck. Obviously, Don Rickles is Don Rickles. That's cool. I had an opportunity to see him with Joan Rivers in Atlantic City. It was on a Saturday night. A friend of mine had a ticket, and I was like, well, you want to just drive down? It's kind of a pain in the ass drive from where I am, and I always regret that. I wish I would have saw that, especially for Rickles. So pissed off about that. Oh, is Bill Burr a pilot? Okay, I get why you'd like that. Yeah, I agree with Amy. Podcast built comedy and then destroyed it, and comedians were better in smaller doses. Yeah, that's so true. Like I've said, there's nothing worse than hearing these fucking comedians on their podcasts, on their streams, or whatever, where they talk about their goddamn craft and how they killed the room and how they slayed. And even when they talk about like this heckler they had, I don't want to hear it. I don't fucking care. It's so nauseating. They think so highly of themselves. That's the thing about podcasts that really drive home about these comedians is they think that they're like fucking scientists or something. They think that they're saving the world. They really do. They have this such a high opinion of themselves. It's nauseating. I think podcasts also killed talk shows. Late night TV is done. I think late night TV has about 10 years left in it, if that. If that. Now with no Letterman, no Leno, Carson long gone. Podcasts has killed that. I mean, who the fuck is watching late night TV? Nobody. The only time you're seeing late night TV is like a YouTube clip for something that happened the night before. You might get a chuckle out of. Norm is known more for SNL, not stand-up. No, my friend, you are wrong. Norm is very well known for his stand-up. You have to see him. It's amazing. He's known for all those things, but he's a great stand-up. Kids in the what do I think of Kids in the Hall? I don't know. Hit and miss. I liked a lot of their. I mean, I haven't seen it in a long time. But a lot of their skits were very funny to me, and a lot of them were just too weird for the sake of being weird. So, okay. Oh no. Tom, I was talking to my brother-in-law tonight, and he said it is what it is at least 5 times. That's rough. How long was the conversation that he said it 5 times? Was it over an hour or less? That's really bad. That's one of the worst things you could say. I'm guilty of saying it like on a rare occasion, and then I immediately catch myself and want to hang myself. So Judy Tenuta, is she still calling people pigs? Yeah, I wish that's true. For any set ever, I wish I could have been at the Laugh Factory for Michael Richards' set. Hero says, me too. And it's like, I think I've said this before, like Dave Chappelle says, anytime I see that Laugh Factory banner or anybody standing in front of that Laugh Factory banner, all I could think about is fucking Michael Richards going crazy. Like that's all I can. Like, why don't they change that? It's got such a weird brand. It's got such a weird association with that one moment, and it's really one of the very first viral moments because somebody caught that on like a flip phone because that was in 2006. That was before smartphones, so somebody caught that on like a BlackBerry maybe or something. God, I'd love to see that whole set. And allegedly he came back later that same night. He did get back on stage that same night and did another set. I'd like to see that too. Or he tried another set. I don't know if it worked. Conan is leaving. Yeah, Conan's kind of a fucking loser though because it's like everybody had that sickness for that 11:30 Tonight Show spot, and he just let it ruin him. Conan should have stayed at 12:30 for as long as he could have, even though 12:30 is a young man's game. You get a little too old for 12:30, but he should have stayed there. And I don't like Conan in L.A. I like Conan in New York. I mean, once he went to TBS, he was never even mentioned in any article that was ever about late night. You heard, Letterman at the time, Leno at the time, Kimmel, and then later Fallon and that. Conan's never mentioned because it was like TBS didn't exist. So, yeah, Colbert's nauseating. They're all nauseating. There's no good late night show. They all suck. Who'd watch that anyway? Even if there's a guest that you like, you're not going to get anything real out of them because they're going to commercial every 2 minutes. So you're never going to get anywhere. I like Conan, but I don't like the decisions he's made. and I never liked his TBS show. But granted, I only watched it in the very early years. Maybe it grew into something great. I have to like Conan. He's a fellow redhead. It's a law. I think Conan's like wheelhouse. Yeah, Conan's like mid 90s to the early mid 2000s. He was perfect because it reminded me of like being a kid and watching Carson, like Johnny Carson at 11:30. If I could stay up that late and somehow sneak it, and then you got Letterman at 12:30. What a great pairing! And then and then in the 90s you had Letterman at 11:30, and then Conan at 12:30. Different networks, but obviously you just switched the channel. It was great. Yeah, and in fact, if there was like a channel, I wish there was a channel. In fact, I was talking. Who was I? I was talking to the guy Zach from Adult Swim about this. Like, we were talking about how much what we watch, and he said, "What do you watch?" I said, "I watch YouTube. I watch old Carson interviews." He's like, "Me too." I said, "I want to create like a Netflix that's just a talk shows, like old talk shows, and just I would like old Conan, old Letterman, and even like all those old '70s talk shows." Like Michael Douglas and all that stuff. That's I would watch that all day. Yeah, that's the thing. Like even like you can't be quirky and edgy unless you're at 12:30. It's true. Like even Letterman changed. Like when Letterman went to 11:30, he wasn't the 12:30 Letterman anymore. He wasn't wearing the khakis and the like the blue shirt, whatever. He was wearing full suits. Like he was wearing designer suits, and he wasn't doing a lot of the things that he did at um, 12:30. It was different, and you knew it was going to be different. As a ginger, do I like Copper Cab? No, I don't really know Copper Cab anyway. That wasn't really in my universe. So no, my answer to that is no. I don't. Louis C.K. is a red. Yeah, was a redhead at one point. I can't stand it. I just never liked him. Never found him funny. I hate comedians that talk about their fucking family lives. They like just like my wife, my kids do this, and I hate it when my kid. I don't give a shit. Yeah, Leno definitely killed Conan, but I'll tell you what. In like years, in the hindsight of time, I look back on Leno with more forgiving eyes. I think Leno was because I thought Leno was like the bad guy in that, but read the books both The Late Shift by Bill Carter that came out I think around 95 that tells the whole story of how Letterman moved to CBS and how Leno got the Tonight Show and Johnny Carson retiring. That is a great story. They made an HBO movie about it, which is okay. The book's a lot better. And then he did a follow-up book called The Late Night Wars that came out maybe about 10 years ago, maybe a little longer. And that tells the whole story about Leno, Conan, even it mentions Jimmy Kimmel and Colbert a little bit, and that is great too. And I don't know, after that and like looking back, I think I rethought my opinion on Leno quite a bit. With Magic Johnson, yeah, I would love to see all of those Magic Johnson episodes. There's not many of them. Magic Johnson needs to get Sheila Egan again. Can you imagine like the Magic Hour now? Like they tried to bring back Arsenio like a few years ago and it bombed. I was surprised how well it didn't do. How poorly it did. It didn't do well. I thought that would be interesting to bring back. But man, that I think it's done because now it's like even you don't even hear about new talk shows anymore. Like nobody like. For years, like Fox would always try to have a competing talk show or have something like there's no real. When's the last time you heard a rumbling of a new talk show? of a new person that was going to go into late night. It doesn't. It felt like back in the 90s and 2000s, you'd hear all the time. There would be, oh, this is going to be the next guy, or this guy is doing a test show. This guy's going to take over. This guy's going to follow Jimmy Kimmel. This guy. And there's none of that anymore. It's just, I mean, unless it's going on and I'm just not, getting it. I just feel it's over. I feel the whole late night thing is completely over. Did anybody who watched the Arsenio reboot, like, is there a reason why it failed? Was he bad? Was the show bad? Did he not get guests? I was just really surprised at that, because when he came back, I felt like that was, because Arsenio by then was like almost like a Carson era guy, like, oh, he's an old school talk show guy, like that'll be interesting. But man, it like fucking was over almost immediately. Yeah, that's so true, Amy, on the money again. Part of the problem is I have no desire to watch interviews at 99% of Hollywood stars. I can't think of anyone who would get me excited. Maybe Quentin Tarantino or Norm. Yeah, those are the two people that I would tune in for. And even then, they're so neutered in that format because it's just so showy and bullshit. You'd rather hear them on a podcast or something where they could really talk. But yeah, you're right. I don't give a flying fuck about any of these people. The people that I was always interested in were the people that didn't normally do talk shows. Like, once in a rare while, you'd hear somebody come on, like, even De Niro for a while. De Niro never did talk shows. Now, it's like, you can't, now he's a big loudmouth. But, back in the day, there were certain people, like Leonardo DiCaprio, I would be interested because he's never done the talk show thing. He promotes a movie, he'll do junkets, and he'll do, like, some type of promotion stuff, but he doesn't do the talk shows. You got to give him credit for that, because I think they know. I think even publicists know now that format's dead. The only people that go on there are like really low rent. Like, it's always like the network celebrities. Like, if it's Kimmel, it's like people starring in some shitty ABC show. And, he'll get people come on that are like his friends because he's a big star fucker. But same thing with Fallon, and they're all it's all the same people, and even when they once in a while they have somebody allegedly interesting, they can't make it interesting because of the format. They got to go to commercial, or they can't talk, or they can't say certain things. It's terrible. Yeah, the Netflix Norm show was fucking terrible. He was much better on YouTube. I hated it. And it was basically, every episode was a promotion for a Netflix show. The only guests he had on were Netflix people. Even Seinfeld had moved that coffee and cars thing to Netflix. That's why he was on. Drew Barrymore was another guest. She had a Netflix show. Everybody had a Netflix show. There was no... It was... I don't know. It was just very neutered. And you could feel how like Norm felt uncomfortable doing it. He was much better on that YouTube show. I can't even imagine when Stern had Hillary Clinton on and totally pussed out and didn't ask her anything funny. I mean, I was completely out by then, but I can't even imagine that he had her on, because that was such a impossible... Somebody like that would be such an impossible get for him. Leo's right. If Leo says TV's beneath him, he's right. Especially TV now. Now, if there was still a Carson, I bet he'd probably go on it or something like that. But what talk show are you going to go on if you're any kind of famous? Like, and he's worked really hard. I really like Leonardo DiCaprio because he could have made some sellout decisions post Titanic. Like, he could have just done like the shitty romance comedies or whatever. You look at people who have had like really big pushes in a movie, and make terrible career decisions after. He's made all the right decisions. Like, and you got to credit both him and his agent or whatever his management team is. They've made all the right decisions post Titanic, and that's going back to 1997. So look who he's worked with. He's worked with Spielberg, Clint Eastwood, Scorsese, like multiple times. Tarantino. I mean, he's worked with everybody great. You know, are all of his movies great? But no. But name me. You're not going to name me too many bad DiCaprio movies. You're just not. So you really got to respect his decision making and picking roles. And you know, him not going on these shitty talk shows probably has a good to do with it, because you get sick of these people. Like, and I remember getting sick of Tom Hanks even when I was watching. He'd be on Letterman. I was like, oh, Tom Hanks again. He's gonna tell the same. You know, he's always funny and personable, but you get sick of him. It's the people that don't go on the shows that have an aura, and that's why there's no movie stars anymore. There's no movie stars anymore because you know too much about them. They post on Instagram. I don't want to see, you know, like Hugh Jackman. You know, he's posting his workout routine. The Rock or people like that. They're not movie stars to me. The bear rape movie wasn't great. Yeah, I actually like that movie, but I can understand why you don't like it. But there were certain people that had an aura about them that, like Cary Grant. You never saw Cary Grant. I mean, before our time, but you never saw him on any talk show, and it added to their aura. Leo DiCaprio, you don't see him on shitty talk shows. It adds to their aura, like, oh, there's something mysterious. Even Brad Pitt, to a certain extent, doesn't go on a lot of talk shows, and it adds to their movie star status. There's very few people like that, because a lot of people, they're just narcissists, and they'll just go out, you know. And I gotta, you know, you give somebody like Harrison Ford credit in a way, because that motherfucker hustles like nobody's business. When he has a new movie out, he's on every talk show. Every talk show, any show you have. If you have a podcast from you, we could probably get him on Perry Caravello Live. That's how, like, he does everything. But it's almost too much, because then it's like you get sick of him too, and he doesn't have that aura that he used to have, because he's just so easily accessible. When are the Mets going to win another World Series? I don't know. I gave up on that after 2000. I really thought 2006 was going to be the year, and when that series crushed me. The Game 7 of the NLCS that year was the worst loss I've ever experienced as a fan, and I've stopped predicting after that. But I'd like to see it happen one of these years. Tom is 70. Tom B's not 78. I'm 47, but I feel like an old man, because I first of all, I love Cary Grant. Like I just listened to the audiobook of his biography. I love him. So he's always my go-to example, because he was so out of the public eye during his career. And then when he retired, he retired. He didn't go anywhere. So I always respect certain people in Hollywood who I like, that know how to disappear and know how to, like, not put themselves out there. I love Harrison Ford too, but name me the last good Harrison Ford movie. It's been a long time. In fact, name me a Harrison Ford movie that's good post The Fugitive, and that's 1993. I get upset with Harrison Ford because he was my favorite actor for so long, but he made so many bad movie choices. That it's just, and I would see all of them. I would see all, and every time I get burnt, I'm like, all right, this is going to be the one. This is going to be the one. And I'd always get disappointed. You met Harrison Ford, Michael? He was amazingly nice, reminded me much of my father. That's cool. I've heard really good things about him. I heard he's a really good guy, and it's cool. Faster Blades, okay. 40, and your favorite singer is Tom Jones. Cool. I saw Tom Jones live once. He was great. Love Tom Jones. Hollywood Homicide. Oh my God, was that a piece of shit. If Today's Stern wanted Perry on, would you both go on and promote Perry Caravello Live? Well, Today's Stern would not want Perry on, so that's out the window. But okay, in this fake reality, yeah, why not? I would have to whore myself and promote that, and pretend to be a big Stern fan, and yes, to get Promotion out, yes. I don't agree on 6 days, 7 nights, or whatever that movie is. I thought that was, I saw it back when it came out. I'd probably have to reevaluate it, but I don't remember liking it. Cowboys and Aliens is horrible. I thought that was going to be great. That was fucking terrible. But you can't name me too many. I don't see too many names of movies that Harrison Ford did since The Fugitive that's any good. Maybe Air Force One, but it's kind of a Die Hard ripoff, and the CGI in that movie is so bad it's almost unwatchable by today's standards. Faster Plane met Harrison Ford in 1973 at the Palm Springs Red Robin. That totally makes sense. Okay, Blade Runner 2049. Yes, that's a great movie, but he's not the star of it. He doesn't come in the movie until like almost 2 hours in. I will give you that, and I love that. I've talked about how much I love Blade Runner 2049. It's a great sequel. But yeah, Harrison Ford post earring. That's right, and he got the earring in the mid '90s. So yeah, not good. And he's too mumbly too. I don't like the mumbly Harrison Ford when he's like this. I want like spry, like high pitched Harrison Ford. Oh, you were being sarcastic. Okay, it's like I'm glad you were being sarcastic. God damn, I was getting nervous. I was like, should I fucking rewatch that movie with the one with Anne Heche, when Anne Heche was like an A-lister for like 2 weeks? Oh, really? Air Force One uses one of your company's 747s? Yeah, Ford got himself out of that sequel trilogy. Good for him. Well, he always had a death wish for Han Solo. I'm sure that was in his contract that if he was to do another Star Wars, he had to be killed off. Yeah, Fugitive is outstanding. By the way, if you haven't seen the Fugitive TV series that the movie's based on, do that. I know it's probably not streaming anywhere, but it's one of the best TV shows you'll ever watch in your lifetime. It's a classic show. The movie's great, but the TV show's far superior. It's the first show to ever have a final episode. So it's TV history in that thing. Yes. Okay. So does everybody basically agree with me that and even if you say Air Force One, it's okay. I'm saying great movies. His great streak ran out in '93 with The Fugitive. Is there a movie post Fugitive that's great? No, there isn't. And there's some really bad ones. There's some okay ones, but there's some really bad ones. There's that one with Liam Neeson where he does that weird accent where he's on the submarine, like not U-571, it's something else. Widowmaker or something. It was okay, but it's not. You can't say it's great. I mean, he was on a good run. I mean, he had, obviously Star Wars, Raiders of the Lost Ark, Blade Runner, Witness is great. I even like Mosquito Coast. K-19, that was it. Yeah, pull up IMDb. So let's go through it. I'd be, if I'm missing one, I'll admit it. Yeah, Widowmaker isn't bad, but it's not great. We got to say great. His last great movie, or even good movie, is Fugitive. Because what did he do after that? After that, he did, if my memory serves, he did Clear and Present Danger in '94, which is okay. It's good. It's not. I was having this conversation with Robert the other night about the Jack Ryan movies. There's only one good Jack Ryan, and that's Alec Baldwin, who, like a moron, just completely screwed that up for himself. Got a little too greedy, I guess, and didn't do the other movies. Harrison Ford's fine in Patriot Games, but I look at him as Harrison Ford playing Jack Ryan. I look at Alec Baldwin in Hunt for Red October. That's Jack Ryan. He's the best Jack Ryan. No one's ever come close. So Clear and Present Danger in '94. I think he does Sabrina in '95. I forget what he does in '96, if he does anything. He does that stupid movie with Brad Pitt in '97, Devil's Own. I'm not looking at IMDb. I'm doing this off the top of my head. '98, it's the 6 Days, 7 Nights with Anne Heche. Maybe I'm missing one. '99, he does that terrible, terrible, terrible fucking airplane movie. Not airplane movie. It's like a movie about his wife died in an airplane. I can't remember the name of it. Broken something. I can't. Anyway, can't remember. He also does the one with Michelle Pfeiffer with the lake. I can't remember the name of that. And then we get into the 2000s. Crystal Skull, Indiana Jones was jumping. Crystal Skull doesn't even count. It's so bad. Yeah, no. He does have a great great legacy, and he's not cringy, political, but he's dabbled in it. He's said some cringy things. He's not quite De Niro, but he's definitely said some things. Frantic is a good one, but there's a movie that came out about a year before Frantic called Target with Gene Hackman. Basically the same plot where he's this guy in Europe and his wife gets kidnapped, and the whole movie is trying to find the kidnapped wife. I thought Target with Gene Hackman and Matt Dillon played his son. I thought that was a better movie for that story. And Frantic came out, I think Target came out in '85 and Frantic came out in '87, if I'm not mistaken. And I thought Target was the better of the two. The Ice Maker from Mosquito Coast, that's a good call, Robert. Yeah. Yeah, Harrison Ford was in the Blade Runner sequel, but he wasn't the star. It's not. You can't say it's a Harrison Ford movie, even though he's supporting it. What Lies Beneath? That was it. Random Hearts. That was the movie. I saw it in the theater. Holy shit, was that movie bad? Oh. Okay. What am I wearing? I'm wearing a Mets shirt, Mets t-shirt, like a vintage one, and just pajama shorts that I changed into midstream. One of the benefits of not being on camera. Yeah, I have a very savant memory with dates and stuff, so I can roll off like names of things, names and years. Yeah, Gene Hackman, one of my all-time favorites. He just retired. I mean, he didn't just retire, but he just, he didn't even like leave off on a great movie. He just decided, yeah, I'm not working anymore, which is too bad. Am I ever gonna set anything up for channel points? At the moment, they just kind of yes, I will. Yeah, I was gonna jump on that comment when Perry called me a fake punk rocker, because I really liked punk, I do, but I don't like. I guess I didn't associate him saying that "Lie Lie Lie" song with the Sex Pistols song. Now, once he said it, it clicked. But I don't know. Like I've said before, I think the Sex Pistols are overrated. So everybody, okay, so we're all in agreement on Harrison Ford, right? And I'll just rule that in favor. Nobody's come up with a movie that's better than The Fugitive. Was he in a fucking Ray Romano movie? Really? Wow. Yeah, Welcome to Mooseport. Was that his last movie, or was it the one with Sigourney Weaver? I forget. I don't even remember the name of that one. He did some bad movies. Fuck. Really bad movies. No, Force Awakens. First of all, Force Awakens is not a Harrison Ford movie, but it's also not a good movie. Yeah, it's some kind of thing. He says it all the time, that lie. There's certain things he says that just annoy the shit out of me. I find it so grating. That's one of them. Yeah, Frisco Kid is one of those movies that was on HBO forever in the '80s. It was on almost every day on HBO, so I'd always see it. Yeah, it is a good. It's a very good early Harrison Ford movie, and Gene Wilder's really good in it. It's very underrated. Yeah, he went into yeah he went. I know Hackman when it became an author. He did that movie, The Heist. I think that's his last good movie. I think it's 2001 with Danny DeVito, where he plays like the guy that pulls heists. I remember seeing that at the time. Actually, Hero Picture. I remember seeing it on pay per view on my Descrambler. That's how I saw that movie. My cable Descrambler on pay per view that I didn't pay for. Favorite Western? Boy, probably The Searchers, John Ford, but a modern-esque one. I guess Tombstone, even though that's everybody says that, but as far as modern westerns go, I'm not. It's not my favorite genre, by far, but I really liked Tombstone. Yeah, he was in Cowboys and Aliens, but I don't list Cowboys and Aliens as a good film. Very disappointing. Favorite animated series? What genre of anime are we talking about? Like Batman the animated series type animated series, or like something from when you were a kid, like the Flintstones or Jetsons or something. I'd probably go with Batman the animated series as my go-to answer over The Simpsons. But Simpsons very highly up until about the year 2000. Paint your wagon. Was Man from? I mean, I might be really out of it. Man, did they make Man from Uncle into a movie, or are you talking about the old TV show? It's funny. I used to be really up on movie stuff, like really up on it. Like I actually was an entertainment journalist for a while. I'd have to write about this shit, and now I'm just checked out. I'm just checked out on it. Favorite documentary is really tough. There's a lot that would be in the running. Fuck. Maybe. Jeez. I don't know. I almost want to say King of Kong, but I've heard some things about that, how manipulated it was. I don't like when documentaries are. I know most of them are like really heavily manipulated, narratively, and I've heard some things about King of Kong that would like very manipulated, and there's a much longer cut that is better. But I don't know why that one comes to my brain. I'm probably not thinking of one that's an easy one. Grizzly Man is one of those ones. It's like I liked when at the time, but that guy's so fucking annoying. And you know where it's going. You know where the movie's going. Spinal Tap. I'll have to really think about the documentary thing. There's definitely something in my head that I'm not thinking of. Would you guys, like, so people have seen Grizzly Man, if that footage really existed, like, I know the audio, whatever, of the guy getting mauled by the bear, if you could hear it, if you could like play it for yourself, would you listen to it? Because I remember in the movie they made a big deal about it, where the one guy's listening to it on headphones. They don't play the audio in the movie, obviously, and they're like, oh, you should destroy this tape. No one should ever hear this. But it just made me want to hear it. I was like, I would listen to that. No, I haven't seen Confessions of a Superhero. What is that? What do I enjoy? I enjoy this. I enjoy talking to you guys. I watch a lot of YouTube, and my interests are all over the place. You'd have to give you'd have to give me a specific category to narrow that down. You wouldn't watch it. Well, I don't think it was on video. I think it was just audio. I think the thing with Grizzly Man is the camera. Like, there's nobody holding the camera, obviously at that point, because spoiler alert, the Grizzly Man dies, and I think the girl that he was with, I don't know if it was his girlfriend or whatever, she was already killed, and the guy had. I think the camera had dropped at that point, and you just hear the guy's screams. So it'd be listening. So just listen. It would just be listening. You wouldn't be seeing it. And my thing is, I would definitely listen to it, just out of just the curiosity. But that guy was such a lunatic. But yeah, so I think they destroyed the tape, so it doesn't exist anymore. But if it did, I would listen to it. Oh, I've heard about that. Okay, yeah, the documentary about people who dressed up as movie characters in Hollywood. There's a lot of little weird documentaries that I've seen that when I hear what's your documentary, I think of mainstream documentary movie. But there's a lot of small documentaries I've seen about really strange people, and people that have sex with cars and stuff like that, with the British narrators. But here, have you heard because I've always been led to believe that Grizzly Man audio didn't exist. Have you have evidence that it exists somewhere? Because I've heard that at least they said in the movie that they destroyed it. Yeah, Faces of Death was always something you'd rent with your friends, for sleepovers. Oh, really? They did not destroy the tape. He called her back the next day and asked her to save it. Okay, so is it out there? Is it obtainable? Werner Herzog got to listen to it. Wow. Yeah, I want to fucking hear this thing now. Yeah, I've heard about Searching for Sugarman. Not seen it. I'm trying to think of the last documentary I saw. My brain's not working for me on this category. Wasn't there a Faces of Death? It wasn't Faces of Death, but wasn't there another series in the 90s that came out? I kind of remember where they tried to outdo Faces of Death. I forget the name of it. I worked in a video store in the 90s as a teenager, and I kind of remember it. Oh, shit. Okay, so here it says he's heard it. Of course he has. There's a couple of versions. One is fake. The real version, you could hear the girlfriend hitting the bear with a pan. It's awful stuff, and I regret listening. And that's fucking Hero saying it. Wow. Where did you hear it? Boy, I know I'd regret listening to it, but I kind of want to listen to it. Traces of Death, that was it, with real footage, with death metal, and yeah, and I even at the time I remember watching it. I think I have vague memories of watching it, and I remember the death metal being so inappropriate. Oh, I saw. Yeah, I saw Exit through the gift shop. That didn't do much for me. I never saw the journalist getting his head cut. I wouldn't see that something like that. Mm. Okay, it's on YouTube. Wow. Jeez. Um, Probably shouldn't listen to it before going to bed, right? Yeah, and I haven't seen that movie since it came out. It was a big deal when that movie came out. And as much as I hated that guy in the movie, I definitely wouldn't want to, root for listening to it and being dismembered. Oh yeah, I see it. Ooh, I just saw it pop up. I don't want to play it though. Now I'm scared to play it. If fucking Hero says he regrets listening to it, then we know it's bad. Oh, American Movie. That's a really good one. Yeah, American Movie. I forgot about that. That's a good one. I like American Movie. I wonder where that guy is today. Fuck yeah. What was the name of the movie that he was making in American Movie? Coven? Was it Coven or something like that? And I remember the DVD came with that movie as a bonus feature, and I never watched it. I remember getting the DVD. I saw it in a theater, and then I got the DVD, and I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna watch this guy's movie," and then I never got around to it because I was like, "Oh, it's probably terrible." Mumbles? Did you actually watch the movie, like the movie that he was making? Huh. It's cool that he's still making movies, though. Where did he get the funding? Because that grandfather's long gone. Oh shit! I just looked at the time. I should probably jet. I gotta be up somewhat early to babysit tomorrow. Oh, buddy, you're in Wisconsin party with the sidekick guy. Isn't that guy like completely, like, brain dead from drugs? Oh, really? You grew up an hour northwest. So I always liked that movie, and I think the reason I saw the movie is that Siskel and Ebert gave it a great review. Or was it Siskel and Ebert? Or no, it was probably Ebert and Roper at the time, because I think that was like early 2000, and they were just so positive about it. Like, and it is. It's a great movie about a guy who really is passionate about making movies, and uh, I really identified with the scene where he's editing and he's like sleeping in the editing suite, because I've actually done that one time. And when you're really dedicated to something. Yeah. Matt, I don't know if that YouTube version is real, but it might link to the real one. Who knows? Did you just listen to it now? I don't know. I don't know. Now I probably won't listen to it, because now I've been scared out of it. Like, I gotta go to bed now, and I don't want to, like, have my last. I want my last things to be with you guys, not with some guy dying horribly. Because I get really affected by like grisly deaths and stuff. Like, not affected, but like, it's like you don't want to see that to anybody. Like it was just like, I don't know. As stupid as the guy was, nobody deserves to go out like that. Oh, Faster Blade, really? Don't do it. All right, I'll trust you. I'll trust you. You know, uh, Won't You Be My Neighbor is a good doc only because the source material is good. It's very. 'Cause I saw it a couple of times, and I grew up with Mister Rogers. I love Mister Rogers. Absolutely love. I mean, that was the show that I more than Sesame Street, more than any other show, the show I look forward to the most. And I think that show, that documentary, coasts on the source material. I think it's a little lazy. They could have gone a little further with it, and there's a couple things in there I don't like. But I just think, again, there's so much great source material. Like all the source material that's great in the movie are old interviews with Mister Rogers and the show stuff. The stuff that the documentary people did themselves, like interview the crew and stuff, it's okay. But the real gems comes from the archive stuff. So it's just, what are you giving credit to? Are you giving credit to the people that found the archive stuff to put it in, or the original people who originally did the interviews and the original shows? So I feel it's a little manufactured. The thing. You sent me I haven't looked at my Facebook messages. Sorry, I'll look at it right now. If you sent me something. What name did you send it to me under? Oh, maybe it got filtered. Message requests. No, I don't see anything. What name did you use to send it to me? Because I don't see anything new. TomB, I sent you a Facebook PM. Why don't want to see it? It's funny. Captain, I do the same thing with kids in my life, where in fact, I just flat out play Mister Rogers, like because he's on PBS, the PBS app. Amazon Prime has a lot of Mister Rogers. Even that Daniel Tiger show is actually pretty good. It's in the spirit of Mister Rogers, but it's just it's fantastic. All the in fact, when I saw the documentary, I just went and just watched all, like, Mister Rogers interviews on, like, Carson, Letterman, and stuff that was on YouTube, and I found that stuff somewhat better than the documentary too. Not the shit on the documentary. I think it was good. What I thought was terrible was the Tom Hanks movie. It's a Beautiful Day. That movie was a piece of shit. I really hated it. Aggressively so. They didn't even get Mister Rogers' shoes right. Like, continuity. Like, he wore navy blue. They don't make them anymore. Like these. They were made by. I forget the name of the shoe. It was like these boat shoes that they were like. I forget the name of it. They're very specific shoes. And when I saw Tom Hanks wearing his, they had like this light blue shoe. I was like, fucking Mister Rogers never wore a fucking light blue shoe. How do you not get that right? All right, Sandy, tell me what are you this guy, Bill? Is that who you are? 'Cause I did see it, but I see it now. Is this you who wrote, Tom? My dad had an inner ear disease too. Meniere's disease fucked up his life to the point where he said he wanted to jump off a cliff. Jesus. Hope that's not what your dad has. I hope so too. He'd have luck with anti-vertigo medicine and steroids. Yeah, he does have vertigo. So that's horrible. I hope. Yeah. I don't know. Like we're still finding out what's going on with him. But he does say he's feeling a little better. So I hope not. I'm really sorry if that's your dad. Then would you send me this? Some Gavin McGinnis thing. I I don't know if I don't want to get into that. As far as hearing the bear guy dying, I don't think you'd want to hear it. You've never heard it, but you were in the Marines for 8 years. Was in a helicopter crash. People died on impact, some slowly, from the ash and debris. And I heard, yeah, I would never ever want to listen to like soldiers die. I mean, Jesus, I've heard people die. One of the worst things ever is God, like, jeez, when was it? It was 2007, the summer, and I was driving through Rhode Island, and I just came across this horrific car crash, and it was like some woman screaming, and she was laying on the side of the road. It was awful. I still have not nightmares, but I still think about it. Like, God, that's somebody's mother or something, So I don't revel in that stuff, but I just was curious for that movie. Captain, oh, you hate Daniel Tiger? I don't know. I just like that it's in the Mr. Rogers universe. I don't understand a lot of things about, because Teddy watches who's 3. Watches Daniel Tiger, but he also watches Mr. Rogers, but only specific episodes of Mr. Rogers that I'll watch over and over again. But what I don't understand about Daniel Tiger is Daniel Tiger Daniel from the Mr. Rogers, when Mr. Rogers would go to Land of Make Believe, or is his dad, like, just canon, like just writing wise, is Daniel Tiger's dad the Daniel Tiger that we knew from Mr. Rogers? And if so, he's completely different and super confident, got over his shyness. Because I noticed some of the other characters are like younger versions of the Land of Make Believe characters, and I just want to work that out. Like X the Owl is in it, but X the Owl has a kid, and then Henrietta Kitten has a kid too. So it's like the kids of the, and I don't understand, because the characters like Henrietta Kitten, there's no way she's getting laid. Like, how did she have a kid? Like, I don't. So that I really want to break down. Like, I've never looked into it that much to care, but since we're talking about it, I really would like to know the ins and outs of Daniel Tiger and where it fits in with the overall canon of original Mr. Rogers. Not that it was ever canon, because it was always make believe, right? So I guess I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking too much about it. Whoever mentioned Cartnarks earlier, thank you. Just spent an hour watching a video. Yeah, Cartnarks is fantastic. It's one of the best YouTube channels out there. Yeah, that scene with Mr. Rogers in the Senate is always gold. But that's the whole documentary. Is they just cherry pick all these great moments from the archives, and they made a movie about it. Which again, I'm not taking anything away from the documentary. I just think the documentary coasts on its archive material, not the material that the documentary people captured necessarily, like interviewing people. Some of that stuff's okay, but the best stuff comes from that. Okay, so Captain says, yes, it's supposed to be Daniel has never grown up, but I honestly can't stand it long enough to get to the lore. They have the trial. Yeah, I felt that way. I felt the same way as you, and then the more I watched it with Teddy, the more I got, not that I get into it, but there's so much worse to watch. I don't know if your kids are into Blippi, but that's the 10th level of hell for me. I can't stand fucking Blippi, and that's his go-to, and I'll usually talk him out of it. But now I got him in the Price is Right, like Bob Barker Price is Right. He'll request to watch it now because it's on that Pluto app, 24/7. Okay, this is interesting. Amy says, according to MrRogers.org, the animated Daniel is the son of original Daniel Tiger from Mr. Rogers. This would mean that Dad Tiger is the original Daniel grown up, although there are several inconsistencies between the two characters. That's exactly what I thought. Because, okay, and we're going to lose everybody right now. Okay, because unless you have kids. Oh, Robert, by the way, I know I left those sunglasses there. Keep them. They're yours. I have a second pair. Right, so if you want to hang on to them, that's fine, but I know you liked them, so those are yours. My GI, I have these GI Joe like retro 80s sunglasses. They're like camouflage with the American flag on the sides, kind of like G.I. Joe-ish. that I bought last year. And I bought 2 of them because I know I always lose sunglasses or I'm going to damage one. So, Robert, by the way, those are all yours, my friend, for all your hospitality and the swim trunks and all the good times. Wear them with pride. Yeah, so Daniel Tiger in Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood, again, it's a kid's show. Daniel Tiger's dad is also named Daniel, and he works at the clock that Daniel was in Mr. Rogers. So he works there, and I think he builds clocks. So it's very loose. It's very, it's a kid's show, so they're not heavy in continuity. But then King Friday is still the king, and Prince Tuesday has a son named Prince Wednesday. And so it's really all the kids of the things. And then even Lady Elaine, they've made her less hideous, and she has an adopted daughter. I forget her name. Anyway, I've seen enough of these to know. And now Daniel, and then in the later episodes, Daniel actually has young Daniel has a sister. So my question is, I want to know. I'd like to see a prequel. How did Daniel become so? Because Daniel's so shy. How did Daniel grow up to be confident enough to get a wife? And his wife's pretty nice looking for a tiger. How did he overcome his shyness? And then what happened to all the human people? Where is those people you don't hear about? The fix-it man. The fix-it man, or even like Chef Brockett. They're not around. Anyway. That's basically what I thought. So convoluted and no real definitive. A lot of loose ends, it seems. Do I believe I could defeat Perry in a snowboarding tournament? No, I actually don't like skiing. I don't like snowboarding. Fuck Blippi. By the way, Captain Kirk, check out just out of curiosity, if any, and this is for anybody that knows who Blippi is. I would also rather burn my... Blippi is the fucking worst. But they pulled this bullshit in the past month or so. If you go on the Blippi YouTube channel, they have a fake Blippi. It's another guy playing Blippi, but it's the official channel. So they're trying to pass off onto kids, because the guy who plays Blippi was doing this live tour last year. This is going to be interesting to no one. Blippi is this YouTube channel character for kids, for toddlers. It's like maybe ages 2 to 4. It's a very slim wheelhouse, maybe 5. And he's just this horrible incarnation of like Pee-wee meets Mr. Rogers, but done terribly and lazily. He doesn't even research it. He just runs into these things. Anyway, so there's another actor playing Blippi now, because he did this live tour last year, Blippi Live on Tour, but it wasn't the real Blippi. It was the fake Blippi. It was this actor they hired to play Blippi, and they were charging parents all this money to see the show, and then they had a backstage VIP experience where your kid can go and meet Blippi and take pictures, but it was this other guy, not the real guy, and he got a lot of shit for it. But then all of a sudden the pandemic hit, and the tour was put on hold, so now they're putting the tour back out there again this summer. So I think on the channel, what he's doing on the sly is sliding this guy in as Blippi. So when you go see him live, kids think it's Blippi. But kids aren't stupid. They're going to know that's not the real Blippi. Although Teddy couldn't tell. I said, do you think that's Blippi? And he was like, yep. But it's not. My point is, I think if you watch the new Blippi, like the fake, I'll call him like, Bizarro Blippi, whatever, he's not as annoying as real Blippi. I actually like fake Blippi better. If I have to watch Blippi, I'd rather watch fake Blippi. But it's terrible. It's just a terrible thing. No, Tom Hanks as Mr. Rogers is so bad because it's like, I just see Tom Hanks and it's just... And also the movie wasn't about Mr. Rogers. It was about that awful guy and his awful father and his awful life. I didn't care about him. Every time there was something in that movie, the Tom Hanks Mr. Rogers movie, where I was always, what's Mr. Rogers doing? And the only thing I cared about in the movie was like the behind the scenes stuff and the sets. I didn't care about anything else. I want to see a picture of you, Robert, in those G.I. Joes, those glasses. I think they would fit. I think they would fit you really well. Yeah, a lot of people never heard of Blippi. Sorry, I'm sorry for going on a Blippi tangent. If you ever have kids, you're gonna find out about Blippi, unfortunately. Yeah, except decoy Blippi is better than original Blippi. That's my point. Like he's not as annoying. I'm afraid to put Blippi on my YouTube. I deliberately have this other YouTube because I don't want my algorithm messed up with. I watch YouTube so much. I don't want Blippi to come out. Once in a rare while, I will accidentally play Blippi on my YouTube channel. And then I'll regret it. I'll immediately hide it from the history and stuff. My favorite 80s cartoon series, boy, that has to be Masters of the Universe, He-Man. That was my go-to. I mean, there's a lot of runners-up. I also love Voltron, Lion Voltron, G.I. Joe, Transformers, but not as much. And there's just so many. I mean, it was such a great time for a cartoon. Then, not even counting Saturday morning cartoons. But if I had to answer that question, it would be He-Man. Yeah, it definitely was a cash grab. And by the way, I'm over Tom Hanks playing all these like famous people. I mean, I think even by Mr. Rogers, people were rolling their eyes that like, oh, he's doing another movie where he's playing a real person. You know, because he was the first choice. If you saw, I think that there's that movie, The Founder, where Michael Keaton plays Roy Kroc, the guy who basically franchised McDonald's and made it what it is today. That was supposed to be Tom Hanks, and he turned it down because he thought he was playing too many of those roles. And then it went to Michael Keaton, who was great in it. Michael Keaton was perfect for it. Michael Keaton, by the way, got his start on Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, to circle back to that. But Tom Hanks, yeah, I don't know why he didn't turn down Mr. Rogers. It's a thankless role. And he got nominated, I think, did he get nominated, I thought, which is terrible. I remember GoBots. You know, I remember GoBots at the time, even as a kid, you knew it was a bad like rip off of Transformers, but you didn't care. Yeah, I still thing. Is Kevin Smith gonna ruin He-Man? Because I saw the trailer for He-Man, and it kind of got me. It kind of looked cool, but Kevin Smith is. I don't like him. I don't like anything he's done. So, yeah, but maybe. I thought the trailer looked okay for him. I'll hold judgment. It looked okay. Oh, DuckTales. You know what? I might have to change my answer to DuckTales. Fuck. I forgot about DuckTales. DuckTales is so goddamn good. DuckTales makes the cut. I think DuckTales came out in 88, 89. Damn. Fuck. No, I don't like Jay and Silent Bob. I don't like any Kevin Smith anything. I liked The Clerks when it came out, but it doesn't hold up, and I don't like anything else he ever did. I think Kevin Smith is obscenely overrated. Yeah, that's the thing with Tom Hanks. And Tom Hanks is so good. Like, I like that Sully movie, even though it's like whatever. But it's okay. Like, I've seen it on cable every now and then. I'll watch a little bit of it. It's okay, but it's just like, I don't know. And I like Tom Hanks. He's like, what's not to like about him? You can't hate Tom Hanks, but he's just, I don't know. I'm kind of over Tom Hanks. You know what? You know what's so funny? You say that, Santor, like about the Ducktales movie. I've never seen the Ducktales movie because obviously I was a kid when it came out. It came out the summer of 1990, and for some reason, it wasn't playing at any movie theater anywhere near me. And I was desperate to see it. So was my sister. We really wanted to see it, but we didn't drive or anything like that. And I was really annoyed. Maybe it came out in 91. No, maybe it was 91. I think it was 91 actually. I'm going to revise that. And I remember we were driving, my dad drove us to, we were going to Action Park Anybody from the East Coast that knows what Action Park is, they call also known as Class Action Park. There was a documentary on HBO last year that did a thing about it. It was okay, but anyway, we would go there like every summer, and we passed by a movie theater on the way. It was like deep into New Jersey somewhere, and on the marquee, I think I remember the movies playing too. It was like Navy SEALs and like something, blah blah blah. What I mean, it was like all these shitty movies, and then it was like DuckTales the movie, and I was like, oh my god, there's a theater that's playing it. And my dad did this thing where he's like, what do you want to see, that or go to Action Park? Because I could pull over here and we could see DuckTales, or you can go to Action Park. Can't do both. I remember really thinking about that. Like I was looked at my sister in the back seat. We had our bathing suits on. We were ready for a full day at Action Park, and I was like, I don't know. I kind of want to see DuckTales the movie. and then we had this whole like thing where my sister's like, well, maybe if we leave early enough, maybe we could see it on the way back. But of course that never happened. So anyway, I didn't see it. And then I never saw it. By the time it came out on video, I guess I was over it or whatever. I never saw it. I know it was called like DuckTales the movie, and it had something about the genie. Jeez, I don't know. I maybe maybe one day I'll watch it. You're familiar? I'll tell you what. Action Park was fucking great. Don't believe all this bullshit that it was like this terribly dangerous place. It really wasn't. It really. I mean, not from my experience. And I was going there when I was, a kid. I went there in the 80s. I went there in the 90s. Last time I went there was 96. Oh, 1990. Okay, 1990. Treasure of the Lost Lamp. That was it. Action Park was amazing. It was a wonderful place. It's still there. It's under a different name, and it's probably like very neutered. But it was great. It was really fun. We'd go with like friends or something, or somebody would take you, and then it didn't have that reputation at the time. There would always be, although having said that, when we leave, there would always be at least one ambulance. Like somebody had done something stupid. But we were kids, so we didn't go on anything crazy. Although they had the thing called Shotgun Falls. I think it's in the documentary where it's like you go underground. It's like, and you come out. And I remember I was tricked into it. Like a friend of mine told me, "Hey, go on this. It's like it's this great water slide, and you go, and you end up in this pool." And it's thing you don't see where it ends up. It's like it's like chiseled out inside solid rock, and like you're in the pitch dark, like zooming around, and you're a kid, and then it lets you out like super high up, and you plummet into this freezing cold body of water. And it was and then my friend, of course, they as soon as I went in, they ran down. They went first, and then they were just looking for my reaction. And I screamed like a girl when I came out, like shot out, like it was crazy. And then of course, then it's your job to trick somebody else into doing it. And it was a good place, But yeah, people died, people got hurt, and it got named Class Action Park later. Yeah, DuckTales, one of the absolute best NES games. They actually did a remake of it about 10 years ago. It wasn't so bad. Really love that moon level. Great music in that too. But I haven't done any water parks since. I kind of always like the idea of water parks, but I hate the idea of waiting in line when it's like hot out and you're in a bathing suit and stuff. Like I'd rather just have my own thing. But you know what, Sandy, the downhill sledding was always a great way to end the day. It wasn't that scary. I mean, really, you were in control of it. And there was different paths you could take. I went on it every single time. It was the thing to do. When you were done with all the water stuff, you went to your locker, you got changed, and before you left, you went on the Alpine slide, and you took a ski lift up, and you went down, and it was great. So yeah, I think some people went too fast, and they'd fly off the mountain or something like that. But I don't know, it wasn't that bad. I always had a great time. Perry will do a gaming stream eventually. I know I keep saying that. He will. Yeah, I hate climbing wet stairs too, and just like waiting. Yeah, just I always like here's the thing about water slides that I always like felt like I always hated is there was always that moment where you get up to the slide and there's like some like hot girl or even a guy, like not a hot guy but like an older guy, and like you're a kid and I always feel like they were looking down on you for going on the slide, like they were silently judging me, like, oh, what a loser, aren't you a little old for this, like, you know, like some guy, like that's I want to go to an unattended water park where it's like they're not, and like I just always felt like stared at by these people, the ones who waited for you, like told you when to go, like they just stood up there, their whole job is to just like judge you and like tell you when to go or whatever. They always just look like ultra cool people who were like looking down like, ah, you're a loser, like why are you here. Yeah, I'd love to go to Raging Waters. I don't think Perry's ever going to play anything like Call of Duty. If Perry's going to play anything, it's going to be like old school NES games, you know, Super NES, 2D platformers. Nothing. I don't think we'll work our way up to the first person shooters. You know, it's funny, Kathy. I was in Wisconsin Dells 2 years ago, right? And I had a choice to go to Noah's Ark and the other one, whatever the competing one is. And I was talked into going to the competing one because it was newer, and like, you know, Noah's Ark was played out, and I fucking regret it because that new one stunk. And I know Noah's Ark is supposed to be awesome. So whenever if I ever make it back to the Wisconsin Dells, I'm going to do that because my girlfriend had to go there for a work conference, or near there, and it was pretty interesting. Yeah, Doom. I could see him playing. I could see him playing the first Doom. Yeah, so he can kill demons. No, fuck me. Sun's coming up. I told someone I'd end the stream early so I can be up early to take care of some kids, and I don't think I held my end of the bargain. But whatever. What are you gonna do? You can always nap tomorrow. Get him to play Cat Mario. Yeah, that's my yeah. He'd have to work his way up to that too, though. Cat Mario is not easy. Yeah, they can take care of themselves. Just put on Blippi. I did give Teddy a couple of things from Perry's apartment, like that giant dinosaur that he had forever, and he friggin' loved it. I'd show you guys a picture of him sleeping with it. Like oh my god, he just absolutely loves it. That stupid whoever sent that dinosaur, thank you, because it's his new favorite thing. And then also that teddy bear that screams Perry when he loves that too. So he's like, so I got a lot of treats coming back from Perry's. I had to borrow an extra bag from Robert just to stuff all that shit, like, because the extra mail bag that like wasn't quite auctioned, that he didn't want, but there was a lot of kid stuff for some reason, even underwear. It was like somebody sent underwear, which was weird, but it happened to be his size. Wow, you sleep in four? You know, I did that for a while, sleeping in 4-hour shifts. You got to be. Are you like in constant zombie mode? I've done that, the 4-hour shift thing. No, Teddy didn't get the Rockstar DVD. He got the teddy bear. He got the dinosaur. He got a basket of like. I know you wanted the dino, but I know Teddy loves dinosaurs, and he just lost his shit when he saw it. I'm pretty like I'm super private about like stuff like that, so I wouldn't post a picture, but online. But trust me, I'm trying to look. I'm trying to find it. Uh, if there was a way I could upload it right here, I would. But I don't think I can pull it off. Anyway, it'd be boring. Favorite '80s theme song? That's easy. Greatest American Hero by Joey Scarberry, the one that's made famous again by George Costanza. Believe it or not. No, I didn't bring back any eggs. I brought. There's a couple of things though. There was the basket. There was other things too. The mini credenza for his like playhouse. There was some other like drawers. Oh, the spider thing, the little wooden box that a spider pops out because he's scared of spiders. But he loved it. He laughed his ass off when it popped out and he wanted to use. So it was good. So Perry's mailbag was a win for Teddy. He went out. I'm maybe forgetting things. Like there was so many things. No, I didn't watch Clifford yet. I haven't had any time to watch anything recently. No, I will eventually. Yeah, his cousin Mark picked up some eggs the other day. Uh, he swung by and picked up some eggs. Oh, so you are in zombie mode. Ooh. Yeah, next time I go to Wisconsin Dells, I'm definitely hitting up Noah's Ark. I don't know when that will be. Jeez. Constant zombie mode. Bunk beds in the plane, I could see that on a TV. I've always wanted to fly one. So this is a good question for you guys here. Did you watch? Speaking of Tom Hanks, what did you think of Castaway since he was on that like that FedEx plane that crashed? That I always thought I don't think the movie's that great. I have problems with the movie, but I always really reference that crash scene as pretty gripping. It's a great scene when the FedEx plane goes into the ocean. Oh yeah, I brought the turd emoji hat too, the poop hat. I don't know if he'll be watching that. No, not the growing pains theme, and no, I don't smoke cigars. Perfect Strangers theme is really good. I like the on YouTube. If you go, you can see all the people that recreate the Perfect Strangers theme in like different cities. Because it's a great opening theme, even if the show's not that great. Castaway annoyed me too, but not for the being alone stuff. I didn't like the whole movie. You're watching him on this island. I wanted to see the moment where he gets picked up by that boat. I hate the cutaway where he's on the raft and then there's that big boat that finds him, and then the next scene it cuts away to him on a plane and he's all dressed and shaved and everything. I wanted to know the in between stuff, like, oh, what happened when he's on the boat? Like, is he freaked out to see another person for the first time in however long it was? I don't even know how long he was on there, on that island. But I wanted to see that transition. I just feel like we were robbed of that. Like it just all of a sudden it cuts away to him on a plane, and he's normal again. I'm like, no, no, no. I want to see the weird stuff where he's like picked up on this freight ship and he doesn't even know how to behave or talk. I don't know. I remember in the theater watching it. I was like, wait, where did I miss something? Was there a cut reel? Like where's that scene? Has a lot of errors in the crash. Well, let's hope that you never have to experience that. The engine would stop running as soon as it separates from the aircraft. Okay. Yeah, that's a great scene. It's funny that when he loses Wilson, that's a great scene. I got emotional too with that. I remember seeing because I think we've all lost a Wilson in our lives at one point or another. I remember being at the beach and losing. Like I brought something in the water when I was a kid. I had this toy boat or whatever. It was like this like big boat I had bringing bad. I brought it to the beach, and my mom told me don't bring it to the beach. And like a dummy, I brought it to the beach, and I was making it float in the waves. And then like this undertow came and took it away. It ripped out of my hands, and I just saw it going further and further away. And I came back to the beach to get my dad to yank. I was like, "Oh, you got to get this. You got to get this boat. Do your job. You're my dad. Go get this boat, please, please. I'm gonna lose my mind. I hate losing things, and and I do it quite often, like those GI Joe sunglasses that now belong to Robert. And he was just like, oh, there's no way I'm getting it. Like he couldn't even find it. By the time I had ran out of the water to tell my dad to bring him in to find it, it was so far out, and I just looked at it, and it was the saddest thing ever. I was crying, and I saw that boat go further and further away. So when I saw that scene with Wilson, it brought me immediately back to that, and I don't know. I hope that boat made it to Portugal or something, and some kid played with it, because boy, that was a hard one to get over. Perry's Wilson was the Mike Lindell cutout. He did regret throwing it away. I don't think he misses it too much now, though. I think Mike was pissed off about all the clutter he had built up in there from the mailbag. It was like, it was getting too much for even him. Well, it's not that nice of a story because it's sad. It's a sad story. Don't bring if you got kids, just don't bring nice toys to the beach. It wasn't even that nice of a toy. It was just my favorite thing at the time. Your daughter lost her swimming goggles, freaked out the same way she was 4, and you asked her why. She said, "Some girl will find them and say finders keepers." Yeah, that's what it is. I lost goggles too at a later age, but I always hate losing. I remember losing I remember losing an iPod when the iPods first came out. I loaded it up with everything I wanted, and then I whatever reason I lost it. And I couldn't remember where I put it, and I just remember someone's gonna find that and listen to all these things that I worked so hard on choreographing. Or like I go through sunglasses like crazy. That's why I don't buy expensive sunglasses anymore. I refuse. I buy like sunglasses online. So that brand Robert that you have, the GI Joe ones, is from a brand called Knockaround. They make pretty good like vintage like wood glasses. And then there's this other one called Shady Rays that I really like. This other company that makes really cool. The problem with all these places, they put their fucking logo on every inch of the glasses. But you can rub them out if you do it right. Yeah, he paid Tracy. He paid $250 for those towels. That should have been $125, and they're overpriced at $125. Overpriced at $125 because there's a promo code, an obvious promo code that you put in that he didn't put in. Yeah, I'm trying to think of all. If I add, oh, you know what? I'll tell. I'm gonna end on this. Speaking of this, will tie it back to like Masters of the Universe, like the He-Man. So I remember getting Prince Adam, the toy Prince Adam from He-Man when it first came out. It was a rare toy because it was the first toy. It was weird because Masters of the Universe was a toy line that turned into a cartoon, but then the cartoon was so successful that it influenced the toy line. And Prince Adam was a creation of the show. I don't know if I've told this before in the stream, but anyway. I lost Prince Adam, and it was I brought him to church. Like my mom would take us to church, and I lost Prince Adam. I left him in church, and then I got home and I realized I left, and we went back to church. I looked in all the pews, wasn't there. It was gone. Some other kid had picked it up, and I was so depressed because I got it early because we had a firehouse. My dad was a New York firefighter. And they had this Christmas party at the firehouse where Santa Claus would come down, slide down the pole, give you a present early. And my early present was Prince Adam. And I couldn't wait to show it off at school, And boy, I was apoplectic. I was so depressed. and you couldn't get them anywhere. So I had to write Santa Claus an emergency letter saying that I lost Prince Adam. I lost this He-Man character, and to please send me another one. I'll be extra good for the next 2 weeks. It was like 2 weeks before Christmas. Anyway, Christmas morning came, and I opened everything. It was a Christmas story. You open everything, and then the last one's like hidden, and I was like, oh, here it is. And I got another Prince Adam, and I praised Santa Claus for it at the time because I still believed in Santa Claus. And my mom was probably like, that fucking Santa Claus didn't do jack shit. And then years later I found out that she literally like went to New Jersey to find it. Like she drove all over finding it. And it was one of those things that I lost that I got back. And it was so I'll always love my mom for that, because like she went above and beyond to get that, and then didn't even get the credit for it. Santa Claus got the credit. But I guess that's what you do when you're a parent and you love your kids. You don't like seeing, even though it was my fault and I should have learned a lesson to like not bring things. I still lose things, but I still lose things. I lose like expensive things, like expensive headphones like custom headphones that I'll just leave them on a plane or something. I just get absent-minded sometimes. Oh yeah, the chest punch was such a bullshit thing. They remade that He-Man figure in so many different ways. That mold, they really ran it into the ground. The battle damage He-Man, where you punch it in, it was like that. It was so cheap. And then they had fake ore, which was literally just He-Man but painted blue, and it was called fake ore as if it was gonna fool anybody. Like, hey, I'm He-Man. It's supposed to be like Skeletor's like version of He-Man, like a Frankenstein He-Man. Looks exactly like him. It's the same mold except orange hair and a blue skin. And I was thinking like, what moron in Eternia is going to buy that this is He-Man? But I had it, and then they had so many different other variations of He-Man, and they didn't make any difference with the Prince Adam figure. It was the same mold. It was just like he just had a white shirt painted on, but he had the same face, same expression as He-Man. And it's like, at least in the show they tried to make Prince, because it's like Clark Kent Superman thing. It's like they tried to make Prince Adam like at least a little like different, okay, he's a little like nebbishy, but or scared, but yeah, they didn't make that much effort into those. But I loved it. I loved the whole thing. Yeah, who's Santa? My sister claims that I told her that there was no such thing as Santa Claus, and I always fight that because I would never do that. I would never take that away from somebody, and I think she has to be confusing me with somebody, somebody at school that told her, and it's still to this day. She brings it up every year. It's like, oh well, Tommy told me to do it. I was like, no, I didn't. I would never do that. I did the asshole older brother stuff plenty, I'm sure, but I never did that. No, I never saw the CKY with Bam called Beastman. That's He-Man related? I'm assuming. I actually kind of want a Prince Adam like mint in box. I've looked it up on eBay. They're really expensive. Like the original one. They're not cheap. But I always like felt like that would remind me of that put it on a shelf. Like, obviously not. I'm not a toy collector at all. I don't get into vintage toys, but I always would like that because it would like remind me of like what my mom did, or like like sometimes like little things like that can remind you of a moment in your life. I'd also like that fucking boat, but I don't think I could ever find that. I have pictures of it in my bathtub when I'm a kid, but I don't think I've ever tried to find that. That's my Rosebud, is the boat that floated away to Portugal. Oh, thanks, Jesse. If that's Jesse, Pot Awful. Thank you. Thanks for hanging in here, guy. I know it's super late. Did anybody have the USS Flag? Because I figured that came out and it was just, you couldn't believe it. I remember seeing it in like the Sears catalog and like, there's no fucking way they actually made that. There's no way. To the point that a sky striker can sit on it easily and still have plenty of other room. I didn't. I not only did I not have it, I didn't know anybody who had it. It was like phantom myth. I had the Terra the Cobra Terradrome, but definitely not that. Another factoid: the mold for Snake Eyes of GI Joe was because Hasbro got the molds in black and saved it, and saved the franchise because Snake Eyes was a black ninja. That's interesting. Wow. Oh, your parents were Jehovah's Witnesses that you never had a Christmas? Wow. So I mean, I'm assuming you eventually got out of it. Jeez, yeah. But did you have the room? I don't think I had the room for that. I had so much stuff already. Like I don't think I. And also, by the time the aircraft carrier came out, I forget what year that was. I want to say it was 86 or maybe even 87. I think I was sort of getting out of it. Like I was kind of growing out of it. I was kind of growing out of it by then. But I still wanted it because there was always the line, like every year there were the new GI Joes that came out, like new characters, and you'd always look at the backs to see, and then every year I'd be like excited, and then there was one year where I was like, I think I might be over this. It was right after Serpentor came out, the character Serpentor. I think it was a little over the top. That was the jump to shark movie for all of moment. The jump to shark moment of all GI Joe for me was when Serpentor came out, both for the show, for the comic, and for the toys, and I was into all three. And it just was like it was this character that was like a Frankenstein character, and then all of a sudden he was in control of Cobra and like made like Cobra Commander like a bitch. I didn't like that. So that's when I was slowly getting out of it. But the smart thing GI Joe did, the cartoon at least, is like they came with all these weapons. The toys came with all these weapons, but on the cartoon, they shot out like laser beams. Like so, they weren't like real guns. They weren't like they didn't fire like real guns. They weren't like there were no bullets, and of course nobody ever got killed. Even if you shot down a rattler, the Cobra guy parachuted out safely. And then there was the GI Joe movie that tried to be the Transformers movie, but it was terrible. The one with Don Johnson, they recast it was terrible, and that's when I was definitely out. I was definitely no longer interested in GI Joe at that point. It's funny. I always cut out those bio cards, and even when I was cutting them, I knew I was doing something wrong. I was like, "Oh, I should be saving these backs, the full backs." And I wish I would have saved the full backs and not cut the cards. But I think I have them somewhere too, like somewhere at my parents' house in a shoebox, like wrapped in rubber band, like all of the cards, even the ones, and they were mail-aways too. I mailed away for Hooded Cobra Commander, which didn't come with a card back. It came with the cutout, already cut out. But I didn't like anything about Serpentor. I didn't even like the voice work for him, and it was too much. It's like you had Cobra Commander, you had Destro, you had the Baroness, you had Major Blood, you had Zartan, you had all these, and I loved the Crimson Guard, the Tomas and Zaymot. I think what were the names? The two brothers that had the scars on the face that finished each other's sentences. They were badass. Like they were such an '80s villain. They were like corporate people during the day, but total like badass like Cobra villains. And they would like supply weapons and stuff. It was great shit. And then they fucked it up with Serpentor. I just didn't care. Like, even as a kid, I just like, oh, this is too much. I'm out. Yeah, I always laugh of the guy doing the voiceover having to read that line and get direction for how to do it. Yeah. I never saw the He-Man movie because I was out. I was, I obviously I was out. I was grown out of it, but I didn't want it to sully my. It looked terrible. It was a Canon. I even as a kid, I knew Canon was terrible, the seal of garbage. So no, I never saw it. Tomax and Zamor or Zama, yeah, Zama, right? Because it's the same. It's the same name spelled backward, right? It's like Toma, then spelled, and then Tomax spelled backwards, the same thing. Yeah, I'm not even that big of a Transformers fan, but the Transformers movie was how to do it. I was jealous of it because I wished other properties I liked did that. Like a He-Man animated movie would have been badass, or like G.I. Joe if it was done right. But yeah, great soundtrack, great voiceover. It's got fucking Orson Welles in it, for Christ's sake. The only thing I don't like is they killed off Optimus Prime. That was bad. That was a bad move. Oh, that's right. Yeah, I remember that too. Hero says remembers buying 5 GI Joe dolls when they came out, sending in the UPC codes along with $5 for the Duke doll, which was the only way to get them. 4 months and you got, yeah, right. It was in a plain box. So yeah, Duke was like that. They eventually had Duke carded, I think, and then Hooded Cobra Commander was the big get. It was like even in Star Wars with Kenner Star Wars. I remember you had to send away for the Emperor. You couldn't get the Emperor unless you sent away for him with UPC or whatever. Yeah, Sergeant Slaughter. Didn't they had a thing too. I remember the year that Sergeant Slaughter was a GI Joe. They actually had in the comic at least, or they announced the figures. I forget. I don't even remember now. It was like a catalog, whatever. They had Rocky Balboa as a GI Joe, and then they canceled it. It never happened. But they had him with boxing gloves, like he was a member of GI Joe, and I was like, oh, this is getting a little bad. I should watch He-Man, but should I watch it as a knowingly bad movie, or is it actually good? It can't possibly be good. It always looked cheap to me because I always hate those movies where it's a special effects movie. Like the whole movie should take place, and like Thor did this, the first Thor movie, and it's always a budget thing where they take somebody in this fantastical world like Eternia or whatever, and then all of a sudden they bring them into modern day. Small town, whatever, or LA or New York or wherever, but it's not real New York or LA because they can't afford that, so it's Vancouver or someplace like that, or a backlot, and it's to save money. It's like, oh, we'll take them out of the element and make it a fish out of water, and it's not for story purposes. It's for budget purposes. And it's like, no, I don't want to see He-Man in like the '80s hanging out with Courtney Cox. I want to see He-Man in Eternia fucking fighting Skeletor or Beastman or Merman or something. Yeah, I saw Milo and Otis in the theater. That Milo and Otis came out at a time where there was no kids movies. Like it came out at a time where like now there's kids, like there's every month there's a new kids movie to go see. At the time Milo and Otis came out, like it was like that's your kids movie for the next year. Like Disney wasn't cranking them out like they are today. So I actually have a lot of good memories of Milo and Otis as well. See, but I think it's kind of like you got to grow up with He-Man the movie, right? Because I didn't grow up with it, so watching it as like me now, it can't be any good. By the way, Hero, if your favorite toy growing up was the Evel Knievel, did you know they re-released it? Because I actually saw that. I actually was tempted to buy it. They actually re-released it. Like it's pretty much exactly the way it was. That was a kick-ass toy. I didn't own the slime pit. No, I didn't own the slime pit. I didn't know anybody owned it either, but a lot of animals died in Milo and Otis. Oh my god, you're gonna ruin that for me? Oh, that's terrible. I guess that was before they had a strict governing on all these things. Shit, I think we're at the point now where we've gone almost if not as long, but longer than the actual Perry stream. But I wanted to stay on because I felt like he was so low energy tonight. Although he had his moments. Yeah, 80s Disney was non-existent. I mean, what did you have? Like the re-release of Fox and the Hound? 80s Disney is Yeah, I mean, up until Little Mermaid, like, what is there? They re-released a lot of stuff. I mean, I saw like Pinocchio was the first movie I ever saw in the theater. What's everybody's first movie you ever saw in the theater? Do you have any good ones? Pinocchio's mine. I think that's a pretty good one. And my second movie was Star Wars. Yeah, I told you here. Yeah, you can buy it. You can buy this for cheap. They just re-released it like maybe a year ago, and I know that because I was just bombarded with ads for it on Facebook. But it totally brings me back. Blues Brothers. That's wow. That how old were you with Blues? Your first movie was a rated R movie. That's pretty crazy. Mickey Mouse. You know, I saw Roger Rabbit when it came out in '88. I have never seen it again. For no reason. Batman, that's a pretty good first one. '89, of course, yeah. Flight of the Navigator at the drive-in, that's pretty good. I loved Flight of the Navigator. That's really good. That's a great one. Mac and Me. Oh my god, that's a terrible one. That's great. You rented a VCR. I rented it. I think did we rent a VCR before? No, I don't think we did. Hero wins. Star Wars first movie. That's okay. That's probably yeah. But even if you're 52, Blues Brothers came out in 1980. You were still way too young to see that in a theater. I think at least. Toy Story 2. How old are you? Didn't that just come out? Didn't that just come out? No, that came out like 98, I think. I saw Batman 69. Was that it? Or 68? Or whatever that movie, whatever year that movie came out. I saw that in the theater, but it was like at like a second run theater. And it was playing like, sometime. It was my sister's first movie. It was like back before like home video was really a thing. I think in the early '80s we saw that in the theater. Your first word was Batman. My first word was bastard. That my dad tells me. I was in the doctor's office and he was like prodding me for something, and I started calling him a bass. My dad does it. He's like, "You're just saying you bast, you bast," and the doctor asked my dad what I was saying, and he goes, "Oh, I think he's calling you a bastard." So we all have our first words. I'm not uploading to YouTube on purpose. It's just there was some problems with some of the ones with like audio and stuff that was just way too much effort to fix in the moment. But I will get around to them and I will upload them all. But they're always going to be a good, I'd say, month behind. That's why the Patreon credenza. Not to shill that, but that like this one will be as soon as I end this, I'll upload it there. But yeah, I and also I'm not extra motivated with YouTube. I haven't been because it's not a good revenue stream. It's a promotional stream for sure. But there's no money made on YouTube because every stream is demonetized in some way. That once in a while we'll get lucky and I'll upload one and it'll be like oh, this clears this check. They do these checks when you upload a video. Then they're looking for bad words and stuff, and every single one gets flagged. But once in a while one goes through. I'm like, wait, what? Why did this one go through? Like what's different about this one? And there's no hacking the system really. It's just the way it is. Now they have a one where you can tell them what's bad about, like, oh, do I have dirty words and whatever, but it's a pain in the ass. But anyway, I'm gonna get to that this week. I know I'm behind on that, but it'll never be. YouTube is never going to be a thing where it's like, oh, yesterday's stream is now on YouTube. That's never going to be the case. It's always going to be a couple of weeks, if not a month behind. My goal is to catch up where it's a month behind. That's my goal. Amy's first word was credenza. Yeah, definitely going to get a partnership on Twitch. That's coming soon, to the point where I think we'll have to stop streaming on YouTube. Because I don't think they allow you to stream on both at the same time. I think I'll have to read over the partnership terms of service, but I know they're very specific. I will get to that. And I got to look to see if even if getting a partnership is beneficial, like, because there might be some things that are too restrictive. Oh, the other thing I took from parents, I'm looking at it right now. You obviously, I don't have a camera on, you can't see it, but that 500 dick pics premium selection for the Genuine Devotee by Phil Mycock that Perry got in mailbag, and I only took it because it's actually a pretty good notebook. Because I needed to, so that's what that's what I'm going to use now to keep my notes for the stream, because as I mentioned, he trashed the previous one. I mean, I could still read the notes I had in there, kind of, but man, it really got soaked with the fucking champagne, along with the other things. Yeah, I know. Twitch partnership opens doors, and more importantly, with anything else with Twitch, is you get a direct Twitch rep, and we've had Twitch reps, be helpful here and there, but you get a dedicated Twitch rep that's always, always available, and that's good. That's good to have. So, I'll do that. I've just had so much on my plate lately. Now that this trip is over, I'll have a much more flexible schedule, and it's not really dick pics, Tracy. It's just the cover says 500 dick pics, but it's a blank notebook. It's one of those things that he opened on mailbag. That was just The other one was hand jobs in Hollywood. I didn't take that one because it was just blank pages. This one has I need lines. But yeah, it does open the doors for a lot of things. But he's good. I feel, I don't know. I thought the channel would be over 1,000 average viewers by this time, like by June, and I don't, I just feel like we got to one plateau and it's kind of like stalled there. But I blame a lot of factors on that. That I'm gonna try to recover, try to course correct, and build it up, and then hopefully partnership comes and things go on. But it's dependent on him too. He's got to be thing. I always like the comments of, "Holy crap! I just woke up and this thing is still on." Yeah, no, I didn't get the laptop money yet. It's like a process. You got to claim it, and then they deposit it, and then you get it. But yeah, I'm still super blown away by everybody that donated that, and I really do think that those GoFundMe things are super cringe. I would have never done that on my own, because I never want to ask for anything, but it did bum me out. I was really bummed out after Sunday, like after that, and it was a good stream. I wanted to feel good about the stream, but I was super bummed out about that, because again, I just bought the thing, and I bought it for that trip, and to see it get I saw it from the kitchen. I saw the bottle of champagne done, and it just poured right into the keyboard. It wasn't a splash. It was like the perfect spot to just get doused and just go in. And I was just like, and I ran over. I turned it on its side to kind of let some stuff out, but man, it was just gone. And it was, even while the stream was still running, it was glitching out, and I just had to find a moment where I could end the stream, because if the computer would have died, the stream would go on forever, really, because it's running on my home computer, and you guys would have just seen on this end, like, eventually, like, just a blank screen. But the stream would be running and running and running. So I wanted to kill it, but and I was able to do that, and then I was able to upload it from another computer, which was good. So anyway, no, I didn't get that yet, but I got to research like the right computer to get for that, because it's really, I bought it for the streams. I have an older laptop, but there was no way it was going to cut it. Do people really watch Perry screaming about food and giving oral for 6 hours? I think it's evolved a little bit past that. Yeah, I agree. Mumble says you don't understand how channels like As Mongold gets insane viewers. Yeah, or how other accounts get no viewers. Like there's some account, I mean, like YouTube, like I'll watch somebody that I like, and I don't watch too many live streams. I really don't. But like, I mean, I'll watch stuff that I like. Why, basically, like I'll catch them like some guy that does like audiophile reviews or something like that will have like, and he'll be streaming and he'll have like 17 people. I'm like, wow, like, but your channel has all these subscribers. How are you getting only 17 people? Isn't that embarrassing? Like I would be embarrassed. Like even me, like without the Perry thing, I'd be ashamed to have 17 viewers, and I would turn it off and be like, yeah, no. And I'm like, how are you not getting, like, did you not promote this? Like what's going on? That's the Irish in me not wanting to ask for help, which is ironic considering how much I help Perry. Yeah, it's totally, I think that's so true. It is an Irish thing. There's a stubbornness to being Irish where I've worked on this a lot, where the Irish have a thing with stubbornness with their emotions too. Almost to the point like Vulcans, where they don't want to admit that they're hurting, or they don't want to admit that they're happy. They don't want somebody to see them happy, or whatever. And I remember having those issues for a long time in my life, and I really just almost in recent years I felt like I've conquered that, because I was brought up in a very not stoic. My father is very warm, and my mom is also warm, but she's cold in a way. But it's like one of those Irish families that, like, I think there's a lot of cultures like this, because I've heard this from like friends who were like Jewish, and it's similar, like where my mom's very cold. Like my mom doesn't necessarily, is not like lovey-dovey, and doesn't say like I love you, or like smother you with kisses when you walk in the door. Because I would go over to friends' homes when I was a kid, and their parents, like, or their mom would like just attack them, like, oh my god, my boy's home, I love you so much. And I look at that woman like she was an alien, like what the fuck is this? Because I never had that. But I know my mom loves me, and she'd show it in other ways, and she is warm sometimes. And if she ever did say that she loves you or something like that, it was a big deal. And but I've opened up more like in later years, like, but the with emotional stuff, or like being, I don't know, but asking for help is definitely a stubborn thing that I have, and I think it's part of it's a control freak thing that I have. But yeah, asking for help when you need help. Like even if you're lost, or like I mean I've been on the side of the road, like with my car dead, and I'm sitting in the car trying to figure it out myself. Like, okay, I can do this. I can get this car working. And now, have you ever worked on? No. Do you know how this works? No. But I can get it to work. But we don't need to ask for help just yet. Or if I'm lost, I'll refuse to ask for directions. Assuming there's no GPS or whatever. So that's definitely an astute statement. With the thing, but apart from that, I really do think that like too many people, especially comedians, these horrible comedians, they rely too much on the GoFundMe. Like, oh, help me move, help me, my car broke down, I need to, like, fuck you. You're gonna you're gonna put that off on your audience. But maybe this is different. And again, I didn't know Garrett was doing that, and I'm very thankful that he did, because it's not an expense I could afford to absorb right now. Let me put it that way. Definitely not I'm moving, as I got a lot of shit on my plate. It's definitely not an expense that I could have absorbed. So it made me feel a little better, and it made me feel loved. It made me feel appreciated, and it was a really nice thing. So I do really appreciate that, and I will get a replacement. And again, I might have to research. I might have to go. Fuck, I don't know if I'm going to go the Mac route. But we were specking out. Me and Robert were specking out a MacBook Pro the other day that might be ideal for just running the stream when I need to do it remotely, rather than doing it the way I was doing it from California, which worked, but it wasn't ideal. Perhaps the microwave should go into credenza. That's been suggested, but those drawers are not big enough. Amy says, Sunday stream was one of the best pieces of entertainment I've ever seen. Laughed for hours, rewatched it again, and it was great the second time. I have yet to see it. I mean, I don't know if I could see it again, but I'm glad you think so. I put a lot of thought into Sunday, and it came to me on Saturday as I was driving away from the Garrett had I was gonna take Perry out to dinner on Saturday night, but we had such a long day, and he had lunch. He had a really good lunch that they gave him, from the thing, so he wasn't hungry, and I was like, okay, kind of got me out of jail, and I was able to detox. And driving back, I was like, I have to go back there tomorrow to his place, but I don't want it to be like Wednesday, and I don't want it to be like Friday. And then I was like, what if we had a live audience, and people that I trust, and he's got to trust me that I'm not bringing anybody into his thing, and I'm doing a lot. I'm directing, I'm performing, I'm producing, and I'm trying to get through everything. And that's why I brought everybody in like one at a time, like space it out, like not start with all these people, but like start with Garrett comes over, and then Tyler comes over, then Rick comes over, and then whoever else. And I'm really glad it worked out as well as it did, because it could have gone really bad, and I'm glad it went really good. Despite the ending of the, I don't want to harp on the laptop, but it was a bummer, but I think it was. I also didn't know when to end. I should have ended it right after that stuff. I made the mistake of coming back because Tony did not want to leave, and I didn't have the heart to kick him out. I was like, It was a point where everybody was leaving, and Tony's like, "Oh, can I stay?" And I was like, "All right, you can hang out for a little while longer." But he didn't necessarily. He was having a lot of fun. He didn't necessarily know when to turn it off, and who can blame him? I guess it was fun, and that's when all that went down. But there was a clear end point that I should have taken, and I didn't. So that's it. The bigger concern is what happens to the audience as things open up more. I don't know. We'll find out. I think we're doing pretty good. I think we're doing pretty good. Yeah, Amy, that's so on point. You're Irish too, and you feel embarrassed admitting that you're happy or satisfied or proud or need help. I am the same way. Even in a movie, like I have this thing. I don't know if anybody else has this. Like if I feel emotion in a movie, I can't let whoever I'm with see that. And I like even if I tear up, whatever, at like Iron Man dying or something or whatever, I'm too proud to. Or the same way if I'm like super happy, what I mean? Like even if I go to a baseball game, and like I always look at these people that are like jumping up and down and like really aggressive, or at a concert even, like you're happy to hear a song you like played live. I don't know how to show that. I can. I've been better at it. I think as you get older, you get better at it. Depending on who you're with in life or whatever. Some people bring that out in you. Some people repress it further. But I've tried to conquer that stuff, and I'm getting there. I'm not 100%, but it's weird. It's an Irish thing. I've heard that from a lot of people. Colin Quinn talks about it in one of his books. Going back to Colin Quinn. Yeah, I agree. GoFundMe is always a scam, and whenever I see somebody doing it, I always like roll my eyes. Fuck. Yeah. GoFundMe, I can't afford to move. Well, don't move. You can't afford to move, don't move. Like all these fucking comics that are, GoFundMe, I want to move to Austin. Fuck you. Get fucking Rogan to pay for it. Have I given serious thought to a sleep stream with Perry? Yes, I have. Yeah, we'll do that eventually. Where like the really good tips wake him up. Yeah, I'd have to stage that right. And this trip wasn't the right trip to like really redo the apartment, but I took some measurements. I know I do want to upgrade some stuff in there. We'll do that eventually. Oh, what's funny? Sandy mentioned this. it says you said you're not into social media, but you still have your Javaho membership card. That got trashed too with my wallet. Like every day something got trashed. Like I had my wallet, and by the way, I've kind of learned to live without the wallet. I think I'm gonna move on to a money clip. But I had this wallet, had it for years, and I took this at one. Perry and I were doing an egg toss last Wednesday, and I took it in my pocket. I just put it in my. I don't know why I put it in my pocket. And I was gonna move it over. I was gonna put it over somewhere else so we had easy access to it. And I forgot that I had it in my pocket, but I also didn't realize that it was cracked. And then I felt this like moisture in my pocket. I was like, did I spill water on myself? And I realized, oh no, there's a broken egg in my pocket, and it was like where my wallet was, and everything got just gross. And yeah. It is. It is. You're right. Amy says, "I feel bad about your laptop, but let's be honest. Perry ruining everything because he's fighting with Tony Hawk about Stacy Peralta's gender, is the perfect way to end season 2." I can't argue that. I really can't. I really can't. Yeah, Captain Kurt, you got to get over that. We'll work on that together. We'll have like a support group where if you cry or get choked up in a movie, you call yourself a pussy until you stop. I get that, but sometimes it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. You got to be comfortable enough with somebody else to allow those emotions to come out. It's not very often that happens to me, by the way. Yeah, there's been birds for a while. I really got to go. It's like fucking 8 hours and 40 minutes. I'm gonna get my head handed to me in the morning. I really am, because I got a text. It said, what did it say? Can you do me a huge favor, and try to end the stream on an early side? I'm gonna need your help tomorrow morning, starting around 9 a.m. I have to bring so and so to the doctor. And I said, yes, I'll do my best. And she said, thank you so much. And well, it didn't go that way, did it? So I'm just gonna pretend. I'll just suck it up, We're gonna do it Saturday. I can probably nap later in the day. What am I gonna do? We haven't had an after hours in a while. Yeah, oops. Perry's a oops. It's funny. Somebody asked, was that the real Tony Hawk? For a second, I questioned it because again, there's a lot going on in that apartment. And then I opened the door expecting a delivery. Or maybe Tyler opened and asked me to come over. I forget the ins and outs, but I was filming it, so you'll see it from that perspective. And then Tony Hawk was standing there. He's like, hey, I'm Tony Hawk. And for a second, I thought it might actually be Tony Hawk. And I was like, wait, did one of you guys pay an obscene amount of money to get the real Tony Hawk to show up? And then I quickly got off that, but I was like, hey, it's Tony Hawk, and he came in. For a split second, because I didn't know he was coming, because I wasn't keeping up with my messages, and the moderators were telling me, but I hadn't looked at my phone in a while. So I was like, oh, hi. No, I don't think this is the latest I've been on. I've been on later, I think. Oh yeah, it's been daylight for a while here. It's been daylight for a while. Yeah, it's cloudy though, so it's not really daylight. Yeah, it did look legit in the Ring camera. I still got to go through all those Ring cameras from when I was there. I thought somebody would do a deep fake, like take a clip of Tony Hawk and then do one of those deep fakes. We'll put the real Tony Hawk over his face, and then play it back for Perry, and then he would be like, "Wait, maybe that was the real Tony Hawk." I feel like I went to 7. Oh well, New Year's Eve. Well, we were both on, so I guess I can't count that. I don't know. It's almost 6. Jesus. I'm gonna go to 8:45, so we got 2 more minutes. I'll go to 8:45. Well, I'm gonna really pay for this tomorrow. I just know that. I know that, both physically and in other ways. Well, that's crazy. When you fly back from Japan, you take off in the day and fly all night, and by the time you reach the coast of California, it's daytime again. That's so insane. That's gotta fuck. That's gonna fuck with you. Yeah, I love that clip too of was it Wichita, Kansas, the bar crowd when they're cheering Perry turning around the microwave. That's what I love. I love like the silly, innocent stuff like that. The boy band in the hallway. Yeah, there was a lot. There was a lot. There was a lot of stuff, and even like I forgot it. There was stuff that we just couldn't get to, like Garrett microwaving something in the microwave. We'll get to that eventually. But man, it was just so. I mean, man, I felt like Sunday was the kitchen sink stream, everything but the kitchen sink. It was everything that's made the channel great to this point, on steroids. Like just really, boom. And then I thought it was funny, like people coming over that were watching the stream that were then part of the stream. So it's like they literally entered the stream, which I thought was great. You know, it's like it had to be so weird, like watching it and then seeing all these people in there that were like fans of the stream. You know, it's crazy. Really? Oh, that's cool. I'm glad you subscribe on Patreon. Yeah, Patreon helps me out tremendously, with bills and stuff. So I'm really glad that you signed up. You did get the kitchen sink tonight, literally. WandaVision. I didn't see WandaVision. Was that worth watching? I kind of dipped out of with Marvel after Endgame. I think I'm kind of over it. I don't know if I can get any more people in there than that. I think that was the max amount of people I'd be comfortable with. Yeah, the PCU, that's our Tony Hawk, I agree. Oh, I wish you would have come over. That was, yeah, if I know. That would have been that would have been a nice button for the trip. Maybe next time. I would have, I would have thanked you in person for the amazing. I mean, like, hey, if it wasn't for Captain Kirk, that Sunday stream definitely wouldn't have happened. No way in the world would that stream would have happened, because I wouldn't have been able to cover that. I mean, I don't think I would have been able to swing staying out there for that long without that hookup. There's just no way. I don't want to get sucked in anymore Marvel. I think I'm just done with Marvel. I hear like Winter Soldier Falcon show is trash. I'm not watching that. I just feel like Endgame was a nice way to go out. I don't need anything past that. But all right, I'm gonna call it here, and I'm gonna try to get I don't know how many hours of sleep. So maybe 2.5 hours of sleep. That should be fun. Maybe I'll stream in the morning with Teddy. That'll be fun. We'll watch Blippi together, fake Blippi together. You're still on Iron Man 3, wow. And you never saw any of the Abrams Star Wars? Well, don't. Keep it that way. Don't see any of it. If you haven't seen any of this, the Disney Star Wars, don't start now. Well, you did. You contributed in a huge way. And by the way, Perry was impressed with the hotel, too. Perry liked the hotel. I was always going to have Perry come to the hotel hot tub and do a hot tub stream, but it was too crowded, and it just... I never really got that. I was only out there like one day, it's the Saturday night, so I didn't really get to spend a lot of time out there. But good night, everybody. Good night, Amy. Good night, all you guys that hung out. I'll remind him. I forgot about the Windy City 2 script too. He'll find it. I mean, it can't be that far. It's probably. I mean, he's got that fucking Jackie the Joke Man book next to his bed for the past 10 years. So it's got to be somewhere. I'll remind him. Remind me. Hit me up Sunday I'll make a mental note of it. But yeah, Rogue One's okay. It's okay. It's not the greatest thing. It's good in because it's not terrible. Like that's it's okay. It's not worth going out of your way for. Yeah, I want to get a hot tub for my backyard, the one I'm moving to, but I don't know. I don't know if that's gonna fly. Maybe for the after hour streams. Night Mumbles. Night everybody. Thanks for hanging out. See you Sunday. Might have to do some earlier streams. I don't know. Empire, then Rogue One. Empire. Rogue One is better than Return of the Jedi. I'll give you that. GoFundMe for yeah, I'm gonna start a GoFundMe for my hot tub. Yeah, they're expensive. The good ones are expensive. I don't want one of these ones with the jets that like your molded seats. I want like an old school '80s hot tub, like like where it's just bench seating with a couple of jets. Where it's like a hangout hot tub. I don't want these like ones that are like molded to your ass or anything like that. Those are hard to find. I haven't seen Mandalorian season 2, but I heard about it. And too little, too late is all I'll say. All right, good night, guys. I don't know why I said that like Kyle Dickey. Yeah, I didn't mean it to come out that way. Good night, guys.